We are live. Hi, everybody. So my schedule has changed up just a little bit. Just a little bit. We're gonna air some of what's going on with Young Thug, just because I don't know. Let's see what's going on. Maybe something good will happen. We talked last week. There were some highlights into it, so let's take a look. We will be working with Law and Crime here because they are covering it. So let's see what happens there, and then so. Yeah, guys, this is a really impromptu, so don't panic. This is just we're gonna see what happens. Yeah, overall this trial so far has been kind of cringe. They spent yesterday playing a traffic stop of some sort. They found a couple of blunts. And yeah. So if you guys aren't aware, Young Thug was a rapper. He's truly humbled under God. And he runs Young Stoner Life Records, but he also started the YSL gang, the Young Slime Life gang, which is an offshoot of the Bloods. So we'll see what happens from there. Which anime is the judge being shown today? I don't know yet. So how do you do this? There you go. Get the bloods. The blood sign. I forget what it is off the top of my head. Yeah, so terms says I get any shower calls? No shower calls. Trial's gonna start at 1:30. Okay, so we got some time. Um But yeah, I do have time today, so I thought we'd cover it. And if we're not gonna start at 1:30 right away, I'm gonna be right back and get some things ready, including the ability to feed my face, because I need to do that because it has been a long day already. Aaron says, "What's this? Am I streaming a trial?" Well, I'm streaming part of a trial because Young Thug's going to go for a while. It's going to be weeks and weeks on end because remember, there are 26 of these dudes. Pin the link, Boomer. Yeah, I'm working on that. So, give me 1 second here. And we'll probably do more of the Young Thug trial as it comes out if I have time. Like, I think I have time on Friday, so we might stream that. Uh, Remember, that
Still
is
enjoy
tomorrow,
following
and
the
that's at
racketeering case
2 p.m.
against rapper
Eastern time.
Jeffrey Williams, better known as Young Thug. Williams and 5 other co-defendants are on trial for participation in a criminal street gang called A Young Slime Life. The courtroom was sent away for lunch break, so we continue to answer some of the viewer questions.
I'm going to be
If you have
right
a
back, guys.
question
Give
you'd
me
like to
1
have
second,
answered,
and I
post your
will
questions on
be
social
back on with
media and the
everybody.
YouTube
So, give
channel,
me like
and
2
hopefully
minutes.
we'll try to get to it. We've had a great hour with the
So, oh wow, now they're answering they're kind of doing what they should have been doing before, answering YouTube questions and stuff on Law and Crime. I'll give them credit. But yeah, give me 1 second here. So, all right, I'll be right back. Oh, sorry about that, guys. We're back. All right. So, yes, everything starts at 1:30, and we'll work on that. But let's go listen and see what the analysis is getting so far. Sorry, I know some people left in the meantime, so here we go. Let's see what Long Cuck is saying.
Isn't even on that song. And why didn't Brian Steele bring that up during opening statements? I don't know if they know this or not. Terry, you know everything about this case. Is that making sense to you?
Well, listen, what I can tell you is Judge Glanville decided in the very beginning of this case that lyrics can be used against these defendants. So there are 17 songs that are allowed in, and the judge has stated that you have to lay the foundation, you have to set the relevance of each of these lyrics before they come in. But he ruled, look, for these we are going to consider as we go along throughout the trial. The Y&W Melly case, just the opposite occurred. The judge did not allow lyrics.
Big difference in that case.
As a matter of fact, the prosecution said that she wasn't going after the.
And Y&W Melly, guys, he is the rapper down in Florida. He was faced with the death penalty case, got a hung jury, and it looks like they're going to retry him. So that's a different situation.
Murder of two of his collaborators that he was with. So I don't know this particular song that our viewer is bringing up, but what I can imagine is it doesn't matter who's really singing it. If the judge has said, look, I think there's some relevance here, we'll make a determination at trial, whether Y&W Melly is singing it and he references Young Thug, or whether Young Thug is singing it and he references Y&W Melly. The judge decided that some of these songs, some of these lyrics can come in, and the prosecution has to make sure that they've connected it to relevance.
Paul, I want to play devil's advocate on this because I had a very lengthy discussion in the gym yesterday.
Okay, so ignoring all their nonsense. Yes, guys, I'm trying to get on Twitch. Let's make some money off the Amazon and all their leftist nonsense over there. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, you guys can join and you guys can subscribe to me over there. It's over at Potentially Criminal. We'll start doing stuff over there, but let's go screw with BreadTube. Twitch is not showing sub on Twitch. Sorry. I'm not sure, but anyways, let's get back to listening to their nonsense, because this is not breathtaking analysis here so far.
Is it just I don't want to be alone with, but I tried to explain to this individual, not that whether it should be admitted or not admitted. There's a difference in what the judge does when they say it's admissible and whether it may be relevant. That's in the evidence rules. I always emphasize that you got to look at the evidence book. And then a lot of times judges will say, I'm going to allow it. It's the jury's province as to whether or not they're going to bring any credibility into it. The other argument, Paul, on the other side is 403, as we call it, which says that a judge can exclude evidence, even if it's relevant and if it lead to undue confusion of the jury, excessive amount of time, or something that could confuse the jury. So where do you stand on this, or feel free to make both arguments?
So that was like 7 questions in one. And
that's actually not a bad
summation of things. Possibly can. To me, and I've had this come up in trials that I've done. I've had clients that have fancied themselves to be aspiring rappers and have had lyrics on their phones that prosecutors have tried to admit. And I have fought tooth and nail to keep these out. In my opinion, this is nothing more than protected First Amendment speech and expression. It's an art form. It is not meant to be taken literally. It's like a novelist who puts pen to paper or fingers to keyboard and writes out something that somebody does. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are espousing that same value system, that they condone the actions that they're talking about. It's a form of expression. And so the idea that it could come in as evidence in a case, I take issue with, but I also, to play devil's advocate, I understand that there is a balancing process. And as you say, the judge isn't saying these are carte blanche coming in. There are still certain evidentiary thresholds that a prosecutor has to make to use these things. So they have to prove
but that's
they're
a
relevant.
gimme to
they
do
have
it.
to lay a proper foundation. And the defense attorneys, Brian Steele and all the other co-defendant lawyers here, are going to have an opportunity to jump up and down and say a proper foundation wasn't laid. You haven't tied this to my particular client. You haven't shown that this is relevant. You haven't demonstrated how this is going to help the jury make the determination as to the ultimate issues in this case. And if the judge agrees, Judge Glanville is free to say, you know what, you're absolutely right. I don't think that you've met that threshold. And in this particular instance, these lyrics are out. You're welcome to make a different argument for the next set. So I do think, to me,
and what he's saying there is, does this make this more likely or less likely to prove the allegations? Because it can be make it more likely or less likely. That's how you get to what the effect of that evidence is going to be.
And I would imagine, okay, and I'm going to ask you one more question before we take a break. Let me change the scenario a little bit. It's like law school. We do law school. Now I'm going to ask you one question. It may have many pieces to it, but it will be one question. Trust me, not 7. It'll be 1. Okay. So let's say, for the sake of argument, these lyrics are extremely specific. These lyrics talk about, I hate my wife. I'm going to go out there. It's just a matter of time, and I am going to decapitate her right on 5th and Elm. And then down the road, 2 years later, the wife winds up decapitated on 5th and Elm. Would that change the equation?
To me, no. I mean, you could say these guys rap about possessing firearms or trafficking in narcotics, and if one of them gets arrested later, with a bag of cocaine in their pocket, do I think they should be allowed to introduce the lyrics where they talk about how much they love selling drugs on a street corner? The answer is no, because despite whether or not the lyrics themselves bear some resemblance to reality, the idea behind a rap song is not necessarily to tell the story exactly how it happened. It is to express yourself through the art form of rap or hip hop or rock and roll or whatever it is.
Or so novel, just any number of ways.
Art imitates life doesn't necessarily mean it is relevant to show that things happened exactly the way that the rap song says they did.
Yeah, very good analysis, guys. And
art doesn't imitate life.
Be extremely careful, even if it were to ever be admitted, to make sure that this is really something solid, and also not infringe on that bad character testimony that you're basically making them look like they're a bad person simply because they write it. It's a really fascinating area, guys, that I'm sure is going to be debated in this case and others down the road. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back on the other end. Please stay with us.
That's a very good point there, and it's true. It's free speech at the end of the day. The lyrics are a story, sure. But is that story true? I mean, that's the thing. Yes, sometimes lyrics can be a story, but that story can be fictional. So that is the thing there. So yeah. Big Peacenik over on Twitch. Thanks for getting that going. But that's where we are with this. It's not clear. And I know I mentioned this before. This is a very good preview of how the trial against Donald Trump's going to go. The DA's office does not seem to have this best setup going. So they've got a lot of problems. And I think that it's only going to get magnified, but I think this is a good preview of what's going to happen. Now, do I think ultimately this jury is going to convict them? I don't know. So we'll have to see the rest of it. Remember, we're barely into this thing, and that's part of the problem. We have barely started. That is And remember, the other part of this too is remember, this is the prosecution. Their case is supposed to look, you're supposed to watch this and say, wow, these guys are horrible and they're bad and they're guilty. Remember, the defense gets to go as well. And this hasn't gone that far yet. So things can change. Things can change completely. So let's see. Also, you guys were wondering what YSL means. It's Young Slime Life. That is the name of his. Napoleon said, "Was this supposed to be a test case for Trump?" No, this has been something they've been putting together for years. If this entire, they're weaving through things that happened back in 2013. So no, they were preparing for this for a while. So I mean, maybe Fannie Willis was doing this. She's the DA for Fulton County down in Hotlanta. Maybe this was something they've been preparing for a while, but I don't know if it was prepared on its own. But there is so much that I think this was independent from it, but they're getting the experience because this is 26 defendants, and I think they're going to run into problems here, but we'll see what happens. So, as much as I'd like to say it's not, who knows? You really can't be sure. So, you really can't be sure 100%. RICO is nonsense. Yeah, RICO. Yes, RICO is basically when the federal government couldn't figure out how to beat the mafia, they came up with a new law. That's all RICO is. As much as you want to claim like, oh, it does this, this, and this, really, here's what happened. The FBI sat around saying, well, crap, we can't fight the mafia. So they passed a new law. That's the problem. Richardo saying, well, it's the last minute. This is last minute. This wasn't planned. I had something get continued, so. Bob Yankee, is this guy, because this guy was saying something, is this a guy attorney? Let's see here. Oh, okay. So he looks like to be an attorney out of New Jersey. At least they have a guy who knows what he's doing there, not just some random Yahoo.
Next to them, and as a matter of fact, they are giving information sometimes to the judges in real time. We saw that with the civil trial against Donald Trump, where the law clerk was actually criticized by Trump's counsel. So the judges absolutely get information, they do research, they talk to other judges, and they want to make sure that they are making decisions correctly. The last thing any judge wants is to be reversed on appeal. So they have to look at that law, make sure they're making the right evidentiary decisions. And a lot of the questions that the judge has to answer relates to, does this evidence get in? And to your point, Bob, we were talking about 403 evidence, et cetera. They go back, they look at those rules of evidence, and they make sure that they look at the case law and apply it to the facts of their case so they can make the correct decision. So yes, Tall Glass, they definitely do go to others and use research to make sure they're making the right decisions.
Yeah, Paul, this is where I think that a lot of people, and I try to explain to my clients, or even when I was prosecutor trying cases, that if it was so easy to do evidence rulings in a trial, you wouldn't need to go through law school and you wouldn't need to get trained. But there's a big old book of evidence rules. I call it the Bible. So when I'm training people, I'm like,
okay, that's cringe to call it the Bible. Come on, dude.
Those evidence rules are guardrails.
Call it the Bible.
It's like a football game. If you pass the ball and catch a guy catches it outside the line, it is not a valid pass. And it's kind of like the same thing with evidence rules. There's hearsay rules. There's what we call 404 other act evidence rules. And the judge, in many cases, it's not the same thing over and over again. And they have to be very particular to get it right. And I used to feel as a prosecutor too, that's even more important for a prosecutor. And I know you may disagree with that, being more, I know you were a prosecutor, criminal defense minded, because at the end of the day, if the prosecutor gets a conviction and they find that the judge violated the evidence rules, there's more of a likelihood that that conviction is going to be reversed. You really have to know what those rules are. So I find also judges will also consult with other judges. Hey, I've got this unique evidence issue here. I've never handled it before, because all those rules that are in that book, right? Yours are probably about that thick. Mine are about that.
Yeah, that's a thing. Just like attorneys might have list procs and things they can go to, these judges will talk to each other. That's not uncommon at all. They do that frequently. They have their own list procs, list serves, bouncing ideas off of each other. You know, that happens all the time. Happens all the time.
Trial, there are issues that will come up that are going to be hotly contested between the parties, and both sides are going to think that the evidentiary rule supports their position. And as you said, it's so important for a judge to get it right, because judges don't want to be overturned. Defendants don't want to be potentially wrongfully convicted and then have to go up on appeal and hope the appellate division agrees with them. But prosecutors also, they want to maintain the integrity of their cases, and good prosecutors recognize that their job is not to convict everybody, it's to make sure that justice is done. So they want to do the right thing also. And it's so important for a judge to be able to know this, because as you say, you know, you're on the fly there. A lot of times you don't have the luxury of being able to put off, you know, it's 2 o'clock, I'm going to think about this issue for today and we'll come back tomorrow morning. You're expected as a judge to just have the answers. And it's really impressive for a lot of these judges who deal with these high profile cases, who make these incredibly complex evidentiary issue rulings and who have these reasoned, thoughtful decisions.
That's because
that
a
they
lot of
give
these judges
on
plan
the
it out in
record
advance.
while the two attorneys are still going back and forth arguing. It's a really, really incredible thing to observe. These judges have this book of knowledge on the rules of evidence, and they're able to interpret, you know, 25 different cases on some minute point that coincides with the rule of evidence, and deliver something that both parties have to just kind of sit and agree with. And a good judge will make it so that even the party that loses understands exactly why they're losing.
Yeah, and they have to make a really good record of it. How many cases have we covered on the Long Crime Network that we're covering again on retrial because there was an inappropriate evidentiary ruling that later the appellate courts or the Supreme Court reversed? In fact, we're going to be discussing one probably later on today. And as a prosecutor, thank God that's never happened to me, but I was always very cautious that I wasn't stretching too far in the evidence rules, and that if the judge was making a mistake, that I jumped up and said, this is a mistake, it's going to cause a reversal, and get the defendant to say, no, judge, I'm okay with the ruling, because that is something that would be relevant on appeal. So there's a lot of tactics that go into make sure that doesn't happen. Guys, a lot of great questions that we have right now. And
that's
Kenzie
not
Davis from YouTube, speaking of appeals, Terry, says, has anything that has been discussed this far, and things are jumping around on my screen here, so it's a little difficult, discussed this far into this trial, reach appellate standards?
You know what, Bob? I have not heard that. I think that's a great question. I haven't heard that so far in the trial. I mean,
yeah, there hasn't been like, okay, them screwing up the burden of proof at the beginning. Yes, it's an appealable issue. A court's going to say, bah, the judge told him to ignore it. Also, it doesn't hurt that this is the very beginning of a case. So there hasn't been anything truly there yet that has arisen to that standard. So that's what I would. Mr. Squiggle's right. Yes, nobody would have. If you called the Bible, I'd argue the criminal procedure thing is far more a Bible than that. Although, you know, if you're a prosecutor, you should be looking at the Constitution with religious zealotry. But, you know, what do I know? The DA in New Jersey does DA stuff in New Jersey. So, Harry Stevenson, I used to be a mailman. I'm a former Fed. Parallax, you're saying there's no there. Not yet. Not yet. Nothing, like I said, there's nothing in this trial where I'm like, oh my God, it's toast. Not yet. This is not Richard Allen. This has not been made into a dumpster fire. But at some point, it might. At some point, it might. It might. And I'm just leaving that up so we know when it's time to go again. Because we've only got like 2 more minutes. So. And the only thing I would say with this guy here with his dry erase board in the background, he's got to be careful that he's not leaking information on that, because that could be an issue. That could always be a problem. Let's see if it shows anything. Yeah, I mean, like, if I knew what any of that... Yeah, exhibits labeled Corio Direct or Zorio Direct. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but he should... I wouldn't be doing that. I would cover that up. I would cover that up if I were him. I would cover that up. So... Maybe he's making notes about it on trial. I don't know. Well, here we go, guys. Looks like we're about to start back up. He's making notes about the trial. That's like a Beautiful Mind style of doing it. I wouldn't. That just seems weird. But anyway, here we go. Looks like it's time. It's time! I am not a Fed by proxy. I am not a Fed by proxy. I'm a good boy still. Yes, thank you, sweetheart. No dog in here. As a great man once said, fuck Young Thug. Who said that? I don't know who said that. So... What's the name of the lawyer with the whiteboard? I don't know. Not me. Answer the question, Sean. Pink Guy in a song like 8 years ago. Ah, okay. Calling him Young Thug should get him 20 years for being uncreative. Yeah. Oh, Kibbo, I need to talk to you because that picture you sent me, that drawing, might need to talk to you about some more because I need to work on changing up my changing up a thumbnail I use for Thursday nights. There's a song called Fuck Young Thug. Okay, well, maybe we'll listen to that at some... Well, no, because YouTube will shit its titties if we do that. We'll have to listen to it. Oh, okay. Come on, let's get this trial started. Let's get this trial started. Nobody cares listening to you guys talk.
I knew exactly where you were going the minute you talked about your training of young prosecutors, because we have had this conversation before. And that opening statement, I do think, can very easily present some serious appellate issues for burden shifting. You know, the prosecutor basically said, you're not going to hear any evidence from the defense on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and we already talked about, I talked about this on Thursday. You're not going to hear evidence about stuff. But that burden shifting, it happened right at the very beginning. This is going to get forgotten about. So I don't think this is... No court of appeals is going to look at this, go right now, say, bam, mistrial, bam, reversal, bam, we actually acquit him. None of that's going to happen. It's bad, but it's not... This is not fatal.
That is he supposed to convince me of that? Is that his job in all of this? And the answer to all of those is no. The prosecution bears the burden. And when you make comments that slide the burden or shift the burden, even if you don't explicitly say it, if the insinuation, if the illusion is that the defense should be proving something to you that they are not.
Okay, I don't want to hear this. I want to hear this pretrial motion looks like being argued. I want to hear this pretrial motion because this sounds far more interesting. There's got to be another group of people airing this because this is not doing it for me. Okay, I think I found a better one. We're gonna use 11. Well, actually, no, nothing started yet. Nothing started yet. But instead of long cock, we're gonna switch to 11 alive out of hot Atlanta, the hottest of the Atlantas. Just so there's no cringe attached to it. So we'll use that. So, yes, we are waiting. It's supposed to start. I don't know what the hell is going on at this point. I really don't. Like, this needs to... This judge, apparently, Judge Glanville is known for, like, it's time to go. So we'll see. No energy kings need to apply here, yes. You guys are just... Yes, Darcy, the judge did have to give multiple instructions during the opening arguments. He did, but still, that nothing there from, like, the stuff we were watching. Yeah, okay, great. You object, you protect the record, but as of right now, those alone are not going to be enough for the judge. The appeals court's going to say, well, it's over, folks. Now, you could point out, like, there's systemic problems and that have manifested throughout the case. You can try to weave that through, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. We need to do that, so it'll be all dependent. Amateur Iconoclast gifted 5 memberships, so if you've got one out there, congratulations. I'm sure you're enjoying it. And yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, the state of Georgia has been very screwy with the witness list, what they plan on showing. They've been jerking things around really bad. Yes, they're not doing themselves favors. And the thing is, here's the thing, like, you can fuck up once or twice in a trial. You're probably okay. But if you keep fucking up in the trial, even if you have a good rapport with that judge, the judge is going to just lose it. And after a while, it's now you've pissed off the guy in charge. So you don't want to be in that situation. And eventually he will drop the hammer on him. So yeah. Airway Steven saying, which one was caught dealing drugs in court? I forget which one it was, and they had it was like uphill. Now, yes, okay, that might be dealing drugs, but it wasn't like they were palming off like baggies of coke or something. It was like an Adderall pill from what I remember. So yes, is that a big deal? Yes, but let's not do it's not exactly what we thought it was. It's not exactly what
it sounds like when you're in the story. Like, oh my God, they were doing drugs. Oh. Darcy's saying, yes, Brian Steele is Young Thug's attorney, his own attorney. Saying filed a motions during the trial, one to dismiss. They'll be, certainly. Here's the thing, even if it doesn't matter, even though if you know it's not going to matter, you still make like motion to dismiss, Your Honor. I want a mistrial. I've made the joke before. Everything's a mistrial. Everything is prejudicial to my client. Prosecutor missed the standard of evidence. That's a mistrial. I'm sitting there and my pen runs out of ink. I'm, taking notes. Pen runs out of ink. Your Honor, mistrial. Anything that happens. Somebody in the gallery farts. Mistrial. Like a bird smacks into the window. Mistrial. Anything. One of the jurors got too much mayo in their egg salad. Your Honor, mistrial. Everything is a mistrial. Everything is objected to or is objectionable. Yes, you go after everything because you have to, but it doesn't usually matter at the end of the day. So, Mandy's asking a question saying, lawyers don't take an oath, neither do the judges, therefore they can lie as much as they want in court. True or untrue? It's untrue. Lawyers have a duty of candor before tribunals, and that tribunal means the court. So we have ethical limitations, number one, and number two, as an officer of the court, we're not bound, like we don't have to take an oath. We're presumed to be, as an officer of court, telling the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. So if I was an attorney that went in there, I mean, would it be technically perjury? Depends on your state. But no, we can't lie and get away with it. We have punishment as well. Yeah. So, and Aaron's saying, okay, so Young Thug got the pill and handed it off right away. Okay. And this is the other problem. Georgia's RICO statute is very loosey-goosey compared to a lot of things. It's a far cry from the federal RICO standard. Basically, if three people get together and commit a crime, it's RICO. That's not how it normally works. It's normally you have to identify there's an organization, there's structure, then there's predicate offenses. There's a lot of things you have to prove. In Georgia, it's just if three people commit a crime, yes, they're RICO. Vodka Blood saying, so the drug thing is no big deal. It on its own, it wouldn't be a big deal, but they're dealing drugs in court. Jurors are going to jail. Attorneys are going to jail and getting cited for contempt. I know we talked about this a while back. There have been multiple hearings where the judge has gone off on everybody. So, yes, it's entirely. It just sets the tone for how much of a circus this is. Roscoe P. Coltrane says a fat man in Carrollton caused an accident, mistrial. I don't think the Reverend Dr. Robert L. McKim could spell that well, but yes, I'm sure he would call it a mistrial. Someone says the mic input changed. Hold on here. Let me know if that's better. So, let me know if that fixes it. So, Analytical T says Georgia is so corrupt, it's cartel run. Everyone in the system gets a cut. Look the other way. It's a lot of places though. It's not just Georgia. Not just Georgia. It sounds really muffled. Hold on 1 second. Might be noise suppression here. Hold on, let me figure out what is the audio doing.
Does that help at all? I just clicked around. It sounds like I'm in the shower. What's that? Now I sound far away. Now some people are saying that's much better. I'm gonna have to fire up and hear what I sound like because I don't know what's going on. All right. Let's see here. Oh, everybody's on today. Even Joe's on. Doing something about kids in schools. All right, let's try this. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get to myself here. You guys are saying I sound like I'm... I sound fine to me. So, I'm not sure what's going on. Better but low. I can do low. Sounds fine, but I'm really quiet. Is that better? What the hell happened here?
Yes.
Okay, going for that lo-fi vibe. Yeah, so we're going to do some ASMR. ASMR. Okay, so everybody's saying better. Now louder, but with fuzz. Insanely loud. Okay. Crackle, crackle. I don't know, guys. I'm trying. I tried. What's wrong now? I'm turning it down. Okay. Is this better? Okay, so it's better. All right. Okay. Try harder. Okay. Just undo whatever you did and turn the gain up. Well, my gain's pretty high on the mixer, so I can't. I want to be careful about that. Yes, if I try doing better. Just streaming things. Yes, just streaming things. All right, let's see. As much as I hate to do this, we might go back to... Well, actually, here, let's talk... Here's the guy we were looking at. Robert Bianchi. Looks like he's... Looks like him. I think this is him. So, he is a former head prosecutor who aggressively fights the government when his clients are charged with crimes. Okay. So actually was the DA for Morris County, New Jersey. Okay. I'm sure he's passed off money to be a DA in New Jersey. So yeah, he yeah. Yes, see if he talks about his Bible. Yeah, I'm sure he's done a lot over 30 years. His dad was a lawyer. Okay. Okay. Outside law, he's been practicing martial arts. And he has a dog known as the Legal Beagle. That's cringe.
But this guy here, a killer. He'll beat you. He'll beat you to death. He's got registered hands, I'm sure. Yes, you breathe within a mile of Georgia. It's RICO. Don't touch anything. It's fine. Did any goon shit happen yet? Not yet. No. Buster says BJJ. He could easily do that. He could easily. It could be something like that. But I just. You could see him. He's like, I've got 50 years of martial arts experience. Get into a bar fight with him. Big stand back. My hands are registered weapons. Even though that's a joke in New Jersey, I bet you would have to do that just because it's New Jersey. When do we get a tractor pull stream? I don't know if there's a live tractor pull coming up at some point. We could sit and watch it. It's getting to be wintertime, though. There aren't too many tractor pulls. The question is, will I share the screen or narrate for the blind? Yeah, I don't. Hey, look, I tried. I fixed it. Let's see. Let's make sure. Kurtzamel combines the Twitch and YouTube chat. Can I? Yeah, I think I have to use like OBS or something for that. I'm gonna have to figure it out, or use Restream. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try Restream one night and work it out from there. But for right now, I have not really done anything with it, so I don't know much about it. Let's see what else we. Where? What was I? Oh, I just lost it. A tractor pulling ice. I need to be a field reporter. How did the craft fair go? Future Mrs. Martin 2.0 made about $90. It wasn't very well attended. It was kind of like they set it up in the middle of like a Christmas fair thing, so it was mainly like kids going to see Santa. So it wasn't the best, but she made her booth money back. So I need Noel Sneed chat. Yeah, I need to figure out how Noel does. I need to get a hold of him and ask him how he does all these things. Because I don't understand it and I need to catch up. So I just understand why aren't we starting? This is time. Let's go. Martin saying cheers from Europe. Well, hello, Martin. Hope you're doing well. It's Shabine. Hope you're enjoying your evening. Yes, did I see the house raid in Arlington that blew up? Yeah, we can cover that real quick because that is woo lad. That was very interesting. That was very interesting. So in Arlington, they were going to raid a guy and his house exploded. Let's see here. Okay. Got sound on it too. That's going to be perfect. All right. So what happened? The police were raiding this guy's house down in Arlington, Virginia, and they took some gunfire. There were some shots exchanged. Here we go.
Oh, why did that? Here we go. Let's try this again. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd be saying that too. I mean, the house just, you can see it go all of a sudden, right? Yeah. House is just like, that's why you don't store your tannerite all in one place, guys. 85 pounds of tannerite. I actually don't know how it exploded. We don't know yet. But we don't know exactly why they were raiding him. Look at the smile on my face. I don't know, but you got to be careful. That's why you store all your tannerite and your ANFO in one spot. You got to spread it out or store it in lockers. You got to store it in an explosives locker. Yeah, it sounds like the guy was going full schizo posting because there were some... Yeah, hold on here. I do know that he had a YouTube channel and it was like weird stuff, but nothing Fed posty. But here's how this guy was crazy. This guy was crazy. Yeah, here we go. This is the guy who died. So as you can see, his big channel, the U.S. is the world's biggest terrorist, and he's a Noam Chomsky, fuck the police, former global head of security. I mean, this guy was like, it just seems like his cheese was sliding off his cracker. So we don't know for sure what was going on. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. Touchdown on paper? Yes. Unbreaded. Yeah, I don't know the whole story of everything else they were looking for with this guy. Let's see here. Let's see if there's any updates to this guy. Yeah, apparently he okay, so here's some info. Here's some info. He was shooting a flare gun a couple of times, it sounds like. And the police tried to get in, but it exploded. Yes, he didn't like the government, the police government, or his neighbors. I know, that's so extremist. And he also revealed his beliefs, and he didn't like white people, which, well, actually, racial remarks about white people. Maybe it was good racial remarks, like he liked white people. He thought they were, I don't know, who knows? But yeah, apparently he didn't like white people. Yeah, so maybe he didn't like white people. But hey, it's okay. I don't like white people either. I mean, who really does like white people? It's so passé. So blasé. Oh, you like white people. Am I a practicing lawyer? Yes. And guys, if you are new here, my name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. I practice criminal defense, among other, general legal issues. But we're waiting for the Young Thug trial to start back up. And it said 1:30, and that's 27 minutes ago. So, Yeah, not my fault. Not my fault. Let's just make sure this is still live. It's still live and running. Okay. I just want to make sure because otherwise it's a little awkward if it hasn't started back up yet. Yeah, this is... Yep, everybody's still waiting. So, I'm here for $2 says, I'm going to come. Yes, don't come. Don't come. This who we are says, be like Nick. Pass. In my truest euchre playing voice, pass. Yes. Do you like white people? Yes, I can start asking that Jesse Lee Peterson style. Do you love white people? Yes. Brimstone says Sean. Shion. Carrie says, I'm part Native American. Like a very, very little bit, but yes. Very, very little. Is this the Johnny Depp trial? Yeah. Yes, a lot of bees getting stepped on. Brother. Mandy's saying a bagel, pretzel, or a donut. Pretzel sounds pretty good. If it's like a big fluffy pretzel. Richard says, do you get to game much these days? Yeah, I do. I mean, probably I do more than I should, but yeah, I still play Squad. I've been playing a lot of Battle Bit, but that's really it. So. Can we get JLP to do cross? That'd be great. Let's see, when am I having Rittenhouse on? I don't know if I would. I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot of things we would love to hear that I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about, one. And two, I mean, it's kind of like old at this point. I mean, it just happened. I mean, it happened a couple of... in internet parlance, it happened a couple of years ago. I mean, it's almost 2 years ago now that this all happened to Kyle, which is like a gajillion years in internet lore. It's like the Pleistocene era ended type of thing. Apparently the cat's meowing. Yes, he just wrote a book, and I think the book is helpful and interesting, but I still think even then he's still kind of his hands are tied because of his cases. And I think there's a lot of stuff in the book that he might want to talk about, but the lawsuits are preventing him from. So even then, I still think it'd be great, but I don't think it could be what it could be once his cases are over. So the cat is not hungry. The cat that's how the cat talks. Wow. 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 Fabric says, when am I having Nick on? I don't know. And Scary says, cat. Yes. It's better than the cat we used to have that it would sit there and go, wow, like it was dying, but it was also deaf. Better than my cat shoving his head in my mouth when I sleep. How does your cat get your mouth open? That just sounds like the bigger issue is your mouth is open like that for people to put things in. Yes, yes. Rescued from a Chinese restaurant, yes. Where's Young Thug? He is apparently somewhere. The trial has not started yet. We're waiting. We are waiting. Eric says the trial is, or the cat's trying to steal your soul. Yes. Right, he says, have I ever played GTA? Of course I have. I mean, what, you can get a hooker, then you can beat her and kill her and get your money back. I mean, that's beautiful. The beauty of that game. The new version, I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'm hoping it's good, but I'm not counting on it. I'm sure it's going to be, instead of Grand Theft Auto, it's going to turn to Grand Community Organizer Auto. You run around helping organize different problems in the community. You know, like pass out blankets at the homeless shelter. You know, do a food drive. Go egg the oil tycoon's car. I'm sure that's what it's going to turn into. Yes, trans hooker. GTA's Florida man. Well, yes, there'll be trans hookers. Ray says me playing GTA would be fun. I'm sure. You know what? That would be fun. That would be fun. Yes. Yes, the female protagonist. Yes. Go around doing a drag. You have to do a drag queen story hour. You have to get to 5 different locations to do it in time. That way you win the mission. Do I think San Andreas was the best one? Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. 4 was I still like the story in GTA 4. The storyline. Yes, Nico Bellic. I think it was still pretty good. Yeah, Eric. Yes, you have to rob. Yes, you have to make it to the bank and get. You have to get to the pharmacy before your SRS level runs out.
Please? Yes, sir.
Your HRT goes too low. Oh wow, we're loud. We're loud. Wow, that's loud. Damn, that's loud. It's time. Also very true. I'll play on Twitch. It's called ATL time.
Thank you, Sergeant. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Let me know if you guys can hear that, because that was really loud to me.
Hi, Ms. Hilton. Call your next witness, please. I wasn't talking to you, Mr. Brown, but since now you're up, all right. Okay, all right. Mr. Brown, call your next witness, okay? All right.
Yes, sir. The state now calls Mr. Patrick Shepherditis to the stand. Shepherditis is spelled Chepaitis.
Mr. Shepatitis, good afternoon, sir. Sir, if you would please turn and face Sergeant Brown and be sworn as a witness, please.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give to you the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Have a seat. Just to the microphone. State your first and last name. Spell it both for the court.
Patrick Chapitis, PatrickChepaitis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Titus.
Good afternoon.
Are you employed?
I am.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm employed with UL Research Institutes.
And have you had other employment prior to your employment with that institute?
I have.
Ooh, we're gonna have an expert.
What that employment consisted of?
Yes. Prior to UL Research Institutes, I was employed by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab.
Okay. And how long did you enjoy your employment with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation?
It was about 7 years, give or take. A couple of different periods for them that time.
Is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation also known as the GBI for short?
Yes.
I'll be referring to it for that way from now on. Okay. All right. And what did you do while you were at the GBI?
I was a forensic chemist.
And when did you begin your employment at the GBI?
In 2012.
Okay. And when did you conclude your employment with the GBI?
So the first period I was employed by the GBI was from 2012 to 2016. At that point, I went to graduate school to pursue my master's. And after that, I returned to the GBI from beginning of 2019 to the end of 2021.
Okay. And where did you go for, can you describe any undergraduate experience you have?
Yes, I have my Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry from Georgia Tech.
And you did indicate to the jury that you had a master's. Where did you go to get that?
Sure, my master's in chemistry from Georgia State University.
When did you complete your undergraduate degree?
My undergraduate was completed in 2012.
And when did you complete your master's?
In 2018.
Okay. And while you were working at the GBI as a forensic chemist, were you required to go through any specialized training?
Yes, I was. I completed their approximately 9-month-long training program.
Okay. And at the time, during the time that you were working at the GBI, were you in any way required to hold any certifications to do the work that you did?
We were not required to hold certification. However, I was certified as a fellow in drug analysis by the American Board of Criminalistics during my first period of employment there.
Okay. And
The American Board of Criminalistics, that just sounds like such bullshit.
Currently, I'm a member of the American Chemical Society.
And can you describe for the jury what you enjoy being part of that professional association?
Sure. The American Chemical Society, or ACS, is just a professional organization for chemists. It's an international organization that provides access to conferences, training.
Provides access to things I can pad my resume with to sound like a professional. That's all it is.
The ACS, it's been about 3 or 4 years, I believe.
And what is required to become part of that association?
That is just a simple sign-up membership. That's it.
Yeah, how do you join it? I pay them money.
Have you ever been admitted to testify as an expert in the area or field of forensic chemistry?
I have.
And about how many times would you say?
I'd say about 15 plus times.
Okay. And have you ever been qualified as an expert for Fulton County to testify?
Within Fulton County, I believe once or twice, yes, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And have you always testified in the area or field of forensic chemistry? Give me a assessment.
I have.
I'm going to transition here, Mr. Chepaitis. Can you describe for the jury what forensic chemistry is?
Sure. Forensic chemistry is basically the analysis of a substance to determine the presence or absence of a chemical of interest, a controlled substance. And so it's basically chemistry within the scope of the law.
Excuse me. And what kind of information can the results of the analysis performed by forensic chemists give us?
It can tell us whether or not the item of evidence contains or does not contain a controlled substance.
And when you say controlled substance, can you identify for the jury what you mean?
Controlled substance being anything that's written into the law that's either illegal or in some other way controlled by a pharmacy or by some other entity.
Okay. And what kind of controlled substances did you test for during your time intervals at the GBI?
Sure. I tested for any number of controlled substances. I don't know. Would you like me to name a few?
Yes.
Sure. Cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, marijuana. Those are just a few.
Did you have any other duties at the GBI other than testing for controlled substances?
No, I did not.
And have you, to be sure, have you personally had the opportunity to conduct testing analysis on controlled substances?
Yes, I have.
And would you be able to give the jury today a rough number about how many times you performed such analysis?
I'd say well over 5,000 cases I've worked.
Okay. And what type of instruments did you utilize while at the GBI to conduct such analysis?
So we used a number of different scientific instruments and techniques to conduct the analyses. Would you like me to give a few examples? Sure. So we usually use a balance if we have to weigh a substance. So that's a pretty simple test. After that, we kind of split our tests up into what are called preliminary and confirmatory tests. The preliminary tests include things like thin layer chromatography or TLC. They also include ultraviolet spectroscopy or UV. And then some of the confirmatory tests that we do are kind of those techniques that give us a specific identification of a substance. So things like gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, otherwise known as GCMS, as well as infrared spectroscopy or IR, FTIR.
Now, you just used some big words that are far greater than I'm able to understand. Can you, for the purpose of the jury, explain a little bit about what you're talking about when you use those words such as gas chromatology and infrared
spectroscopy. Sure. So the preliminary tests, like I mentioned, for TLC and UV. So UV, I can use that as an example. Ultraviolet spectroscopy. All that is basically shining a UV light on something, a solution, to kind of give me an idea of what may be in the sample. And those preliminary tests also they also serve to separate the components of the mixture. So a lot of times, substances that are received for testing are mixtures. We have to be able to separate those mixtures into their individual components. And after we separate those, we also have to identify them, and that's kind of the second part, the confirmation testing that we do.
Okay. And can you describe a little bit about that confirmation testing, that process or procedure that goes through?
Sure. So it's we'll say a more specialized kind of chemical technique is all it is, basically. It's something that's able to kind of literally break apart the molecules that are in the sample and give us an idea of what they are.
And after the molecules, to use your words, are broken apart, how are you then able to determine what they are?
Sure. So most of the tests that we do, most of those confirmatory tests and some of the preliminary ones as well, give us a graph. That's all it is. It's just a piece of data that we look at, and we can compare it to a known reference standard, for instance, and that helps us in our identification.
And when you say known reference sample, what do you have in mind?
So if we're looking for a controlled substance such as cocaine or methamphetamine, we have a reference standard, so a pure sample of that substance that we can test at the exact same time and compare it to our results.
Is it fair to say that the known reference sample is the type of thing you're looking for?
Yeah, in a way, yes.
What are the possible results types that you can obtain after you completed a round of testing?
What do you mean by that?
What are the results that you can receive
So the results we receive are either we found a controlled substance or we haven't found a controlled substance.
And the type of testing that you have kind of been walking us through, is this the type of testing that is generally accepted within the scientific community?
It is.
And do courts typically allow experts to testify about such subject matters for, say, a trial?
Yes.
And are there standards while you were at the GBI that controlled how the testing was performed within your particular division?
Yeah, so the GBI is what's known as an accredited agency. So you think about professional certifications, accreditations at any kind of job, and the GBI is no exception. The GBI has that accreditation, and that accreditation allows the GBI to follow a specific process for their testing, and that testing is governed. That accreditation is governed by an international body that sets down these regulations.
Okay. And those regulations that you're describing, that international body, did you follow them?
Yes.
Okay. And are there best practices associated with the type of testing that you did?
Yeah, those best practices would fall under that accreditation.
And is forensic testing within the chemistry background something that an average person could do without any specialized training?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to qualify Mr.
This is going to be qualified as a witness. It's expert. The sexpert witness.
Mr. Vladar, Mr.
Vladar. It's Vladar, not Vladar.
Anyone? And the court will designate Mr. Sheptitis as an expert in the area, or qualify him as an expert in the area of forensic chemistry.
At this time, Mr. Sheptitis, I want to ask you, did the laboratory, the GDI, receive any evidence pertinent to the reason for which you're here?
Yes.
And what evidence did the laboratory receive pertinent to this case?
Well, if I could see it, I would, or if I could see a copy of my report, I would tell you, sure.
Just Your Honor, I should have asked that approach. Thank you, Your Honor.
Where's all the crap out like they're going to test? Are we not? Does that not exist anymore? I'm concerned. Did they actually test the weed so we know it's weed from that car that got stopped? Because yesterday they talked about the car being stopped.
Admitted in evidence and pre-marked as State's Exhibit 78J. Mr. Sheptitis, what have I had to do?
So what I received to test in this case would be one bag of solid material.
Okay. And from what you are looking at, can you identify when the laboratory received the evidence?
When the laboratory received it, no, I can tell you exactly when I received it.
When did you receive it?
It would be February 17th, 2020.
Okay. And after you received that particular piece of evidence that's already been admitted, can you tell the jury what you did with it?
Yes. So first I verified all the information on the package, and the way we usually do that is by when it's received to the laboratory, the evidence receiving technicians would take pictures of it and give it a unique GBI case number here, as you can see it on this barcoded label on both sides. I would first compare the pictures, make sure that the barcoded sticker has the case number that matches what I'm seeing in front of me. And then I would open it up and then begin my analysis, and that would typically begin, and in this case it began with weighing the substance.
And,
Where is the substance?
The material that I handed you, to be sure, is in fact what you tested when you were at the GBI.
It is the sample I received and took a sample of to test, yes.
What color is the material that you have in front of you?
It looks to be white to me.
And can you describe the texture or feel of that particular evidence?
It just looks like it's a block of substance.
Solid material.
It is, yeah, solid material.
And
Got them crack rocks.
can you describe for the jury where you received that evidence from?
Where I received it from was the Atlanta Police Department.
Was there a case number associated with it from the Atlanta Police Department?
The Atlanta Police case, was, according to the label, is 2002-11823.
And for this particular piece of evidence that you performed an analysis of, can you describe what that analysis consisted of?
Yes. So, like I mentioned a little bit ago, was that first I weighed the substance, and all that is I took a net weight, which means I took the entire sample out of the packaging and weighed it on a balance. And once I had that information, I could continue on with my testing. The first test I did was one of those preliminary tests. In this case, it was thin layer chromatography, or TLC. And all that is a separation technique where I take a little, I take a little bit of the substance, dissolve it in a liquid, and I have a glass plate with a film on it, and I basically spot a drop of the sample solution on that, and that's able to separate out all those components in the mixture that I talked about earlier. And at the exact same time, I spotted a solution of reference standard as well. And then at that point, I was ready, after forming some preliminary conclusions about what may be in the sample, I moved on to one of those confirmatory tests. In this case, GCMS, or gas chromatography mass spectrometry. And all that is, the first part, GC, is the part that separates, again, the components in the mixture. And once those components were separated, it moved on to the MS, or the mass spec portion of that test. And the mass spec is what gives me that graph that I can compare to my reference standard and say, hey, this is what I have in the substance.
At the end of all of that analysis that you performed there, did you reach a conclusion?
I did.
And what was the conclusion?
My analysis confirmed the presence of cocaine in the sample tested.
And analysis subject to peer review?
It was.
And is that commonplace as a GBI?
Yes. Every case that gets called into court is peer reviewed.
And with respect to testing, is there no error rate or anything associated?
In this case, since the substance was not, we didn't get a quantitative result on it. All I did was get a weight. The only thing that would be subject to that would be the weight of the substance.
And what was the weight in computer?
The weight was less than 1 gram.
And with respect to the analysis that you performed on this particular test, on this particular solid material, did you follow the standards and protocols that you outlined for the jury earlier during our conversation?
I did.
And Mr. Chapitis, after you performed the analysis within the lab that you described, what else, if anything, do you do?
After I perform the analysis, I would generate a report to state my results.
Okay. Now it's showing you what has been pre-marked as States Exhibit 88J and has already been previously served with this defense counsel in discovery. Your Honor, may I approach with it? Mr. Chapitis, what have I just handed you?
My report for this case.
And how do you know?
That isn't freedom units.
It has my GBI case number on it that matches what's on the evidence, and it also has my name and signature on it.
And has that report that I've handed you been altered in any way, form, or fashion since the time that you talked to me?
No, it has not.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit States 88J.
Any objection?
I would say does it appear to have been altered?
88J.
To say for sure is a risky thing.
Testimonial purposes, Your Honor, and if the court doesn't admit, I would object that we continue with this.
I'll deal with the issue second later. As to the first basis for your objection, I'm going to overrule that, and I'll admit it over your objection to States 88J.
Mr. Chipias, on that report that you have in front of you, is there a particular name by whom was this testing requested by anyone?
It was requested by the Atlanta Police Department.
Okay. Does your report include a name from anyone from the Atlanta Police Department?
Yes, it says S. Stansel.
Okay. And is there a person associated with as a subject for whom that substance is known?
Yes, Durante Beebe.
And the substance that you tested, did you conclude on your report a drug, where it fell on the drug schedule?
Yes, it fell under Schedule 2.
And
What drug is it?
at this time, Your Honor, the state now passes this witness to the defense for any further cross.
Explain what Schedule 2 is. I don't think that's.
Anyone?
I don't know why you.
Anybody else? Okay. State anything further?
Not for this witness.
All right. May we permanently or temporarily excuse
You can make permanently, Your Honor. Excuse Mr. Chipias.
Mr. Chavitis? Sir, I'm going to go ahead and permanently excuse you as a witness. Thank you for your patience with us. Don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay? All right. Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
So that wasn't that big a deal, guys. Like, they're like, okay, it's drugs. What does that like? There's nothing wrong with that. You know.
And at this time, the state.
Before you move on, you just identified state 78A. You haven't tendered it, is that correct?
It was a condition.
So them doing this, that wasn't the end of the world.
Admitted by.
Like, okay, there's some drugs. Woo! So that's why nobody really questioned this guy. Like, it's drugs. It is what it is. There's no reason to cross-examine him.
It was 78J?
Yes, sir.
Close to 78A?
78, maybe phonetically, it may have gotten lost in translation.
78J.
Okay, all right. Oh, well, then we're good. Okay, all right.
So,
All right, Your Honor.
breaking up weed.
At this time, the state now, well, Your Honor, are you ready to Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. Sharp.
Your Honor, the state submitted the self-representing documents. I would ask the city documents their analysis, what they are, for the jury.
Okay, just generally.
My audio's choppy over it. Well, like, nobody examined that witness because there's nothing there to gain. Like, ooh, it's drugs. Ooh.
Now, just what is it you want to tell me?
He identifies it. It's going to be too late for me to.
What document are you referring to, sir? Oh,
I have to see it.
all right. Well, come up and have a look at it then.
Your Honor, if I may, defense counsel has had the opportunity prior.
Let him look at it again, just to make sure he's satisfied. That
Everything. I just want to know what's in your head.
It doesn't matter that he's seen it before. What are you offering right that second? How do I know you aren't slipping something in? This isn't a trust me bro game. You are allowed to question the prosecutor and make sure that nothing's happening, because it does happen sometimes. But yes, making sure that's the exact document you've been given previously. It's critical. I mean, that is not outlandish at all. So for the prosecutor to get all whiny about it, fuck that noise. And then also, yes, it's going to be a bunch of these witnesses are going to be kind of boring. So this is just, well, they're saying it already. It's like, trust is not that weird. This is not a trust relationship. But I don't like how they brought up that whole, has this been altered in any way? That guy doesn't actually know for sure. You should have said, is that the same or substantially similar condition as when you authored that report and generated it? Yes. Okay. Because then, like, let's say there is something wrong with it and the state doesn't realize it. Well, now that blows that out of the water. So that's a sloppy way of doing it, in my opinion. Thank you for not being young nor a thug.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We good? Mr. Sharp?
Mr. Weinstein. I'll let, is he about to admit?
No, I don't know what because you interrupted. He hadn't finished when I was talking and you interrupted him. So let me just kind of see what's on the table.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes.
Yes, yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, pursuant to Rule 24.9, 901 of the Georgia Code, the state now moves to admit Exhibit 83J into evidence, which is a certified conviction for Mr. Durante Beebe. And if the court should like to see it, I can provide that at this time. Your Honor. States what? States Exhibit 83J as in J.
A certified conviction means it's already authenticated as a valid court document. They don't need to bring in a clerk of court to say this is true.
Yes, it'll be. I noted it.
Your Honor, I would ask, beyond that objection, there are some extraneous documents being presented that go beyond the certified conviction. So it would be expected the introduction of
Can I see it?
Yes, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes.
So, if you guys can hear me better over the chop, the certified conviction means this guy was previously convicted, and they're using that as some sort of predicate issue they're trying to set up. A certified conviction just means from that clerk of court it's stamped as authentic. Yes, Legal Vices was convicted of diddling a donkey outside of a Soul barbecue joint. That way they don't have to relitigate or prove
All right, Mr. Short and
things.
Mr. Brown, come on up.
And reprove the trial.
All right, start radio.
So somebody said, wait, what did Jeff do? I was just using it as an example.
You don't need to press that button at all. Just talking to the mic. Just talking to the microphone. Okay.
Oh my God, you were about blowing that. Okay, so that microphone is a direct feed into the court reporter as she's typing away and establishing the record. But it was nice. They almost fucked it up and broadcast what they're talking about. And it also sounds like this guy is that Deontay Beebe is attorney because it's specifically referring to this conviction. So he's up there talking about that. Like I said, you don't want to have to have replay the trial to prove the guy was convicted. So you can grab the prior conviction, a judgment entry from the court saying he was convicted and sentenced for whatever crime. So that's why they're doing this. It's not uncommon at all. In some states, it's considered a self-authenticating document, meaning it's been certified by a clerk of court. We don't need to drag them in there. Sometimes you have to bring the clerk of court in to authenticate the document. And say, yes, this came from our office. Yes, this was signed and stamped. Yep, I recognize it. Sometimes you don't have to. But we'll see what's going on. So. Bulls on trial. No. Yes, Jet did Gangnam Style at a season without a license. Why does it have to be a schlong? It could have been a girl donkey. Mandy, in Puerto Rico, they'd probably be called El Burro, not a donkey. So everyone knows there's always a sale at Harbor Freight. It's the trial of Energy King. I think there's two eyes in Energy. This is the other problem. There's 26 defendants. There's 26 dudes involved in this. So, like, look how much of a disaster this is. This is a complete. This is a joke.
Permission to publish, I will now do so for the jury. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. In front of me is a certified conviction for Mr. Durante Beebe in the case of State of Georgia versus Durante Xavier Beebe in the criminal action number of 20 SC 174500.
Thank you, let's go.
I
have the last throat clearings on stream. Sorry.
To the charge of possession of cocaine.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the support.
Was guilty, and at this time, Your Honor, excuse me, this particular charge pertains to the incident occurring on January 21st, 2020.
Nothing speaks for itself.
I will continue. The charge pertains to the incident in the indictment, in the accusation pertaining to the incident occurring on January 21st, 2020.
This guy is
charged
loud.
with unlawfully possessing and in control of cocaine, a Schedule II substance in violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance.
Yeah, yo.
And at this time, Your Honor, I will proceed to read the sentence that was given by Judge Melanie Lethbridge, according to the document.
How dare I?
The defendant is sentenced to a total of 3 years probation with conditions. And Your Honor, those conditions are, the state will forego reading those. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay.
I've got an additional objection to this being admitted with reference to Mr. Nichols. There's a standing, I guess, a continuing objection under the Jefferson case, but also, Your Honor, I would object it going into evidence under 24.
Okay, is this for later or for
now?
For now?
For now. I am objecting to this going.
Can you come up to the bench, please?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, and this is the problem. It's never going to end. This is the objection that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people start objecting, not knowing what it was. And they'll keep trying to get a mistrial forever just because. Oh, my gosh.
You don't have to press anything, you're just talking to the microphone.
He's like, you don't have to touch nothing. Baby. He's like, baby, you don't got to touch nothing, baby. Baby, just talk. Just talk, baby. I object to that ponytail. How old are you? These guys are like old 80s hair bands. Yeah, Luke says we're down to like 6. We're not down to 6. We're down to quite a few. They are all truly humble under God. Yes. He didn't know George Carlin was practicing law in Atlanta. Yes. So, but I did want to say, Brandon, if you did not hear me, thank you very much for $4.99. This is the problem with multiple defendants like this and everything that keeps going on. It's not gonna. This is a preview of things to come. It's a pretty full Zoom screen too. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. What do you think Brian Steele charges? A hell of a lot more than I do. I'm sure he's making boat payments off this. He's going to buy a boat. Brandon says they will run around. They will run out of jurors so they can run around this circle again. They very well could at the rate they're going. Nico says $2K an hour. Probably not. $2K an hour is a lot. I could see at least $1,000 an hour or something super huge. Maybe he did like a bulk, I'll pay me X and it's good. I don't know. I don't know what he charged, but $2K is a lot. So that said, though, I do know J-Rock. He is one of the people on frequently in chat. He is an attorney down in Hotlanta. He might be able to get some insight. So I'll have to look for that. Are you guys talking about the court reporter? Here's the thing, though. That's not most court reporters when they start working. It's just like you just kind of like zone out because you're listening to what's coming in. So it's like in one ear, out the other. There was one court reporter I knew. She'd be typing away, and it looked like she's listening along, like it was she was in poignant thought, but that's just how she did it. And she just and I asked her about that, and she said it's just she's like I don't know, and she's like that's just how I do it, and it's in one ear, out the other. So we're still waiting, but that's how it goes. I wish I could tell you there's some, she's sitting there, she's like, God damn, I hate this trial. Just like, oh my God. No, she's not sitting there like that. This is all one ear, out the other. And she's just typing along in her shorthand. She's like, nobody cares about this guy. Oh my God, he's so cringe. They don't do that. They've got too much going on. Even when they're not typing, they're too busy trying to work with stuff. Eric says they don't have to look to type. Very true. Oh, why is he rubbing his nose? Got a little bump. Took a bump. Humbly bumping under God. It looks like a young Jim Cramer. Yes, buy the dip. Buy. Sell. TY says their keyboards look like something off a spaceship too. Yes. You guys have never seen one up close. Court reporters' keyboards are done in shorthand. And they use a steno machine. So that's what it's the technical thing is called a stenography machine. And here's what it looks like. Let's see if they're back to. Okay, they're not back yet. We're gonna bounce away for a second. Here's what a court reporter's a stenographer keypad looks like. When they type it, it's gobbledygook. You have no idea what it is. So they have to sit down and they have to translate their own stuff in English and then format it to make the record or a transcript. But this is their entire keyboard. There might be variations, but this is generally how it works. And with this, they can type out and I've looked at one of these before, the printout, and I don't understand what the hell it says. So that is what a court reporter's thingy looks like. To go shorthand, school, did they pick you up on a short bus? No. There's moon runes. Aaron says, kind of like a calculator. Yeah, a little bit, like I said, I just showed. Richard says, do I ever get nervous going to trial with my cases? All the fucking time. I mean, it's levels of nervousness. Yes, if I'm taking a case where the guy, you're facing life in prison, you're very, very nervous. If it's you're facing like possibly 30 days in jail and it's a low level misdemeanor, I'm still nervous, but not. It's relative. It's a relative level of nervousness. Certainly, yeah, any felony case is a little more nervous, but let's say you get caught with like some coke in Ohio, you're looking at 6 to 12 months in prison. You probably won't even go to prison. I can afford to be like not as nervous there, but as things ratchet up, yes, it gets it's exponential. The curve, it goes like, yes, and after a while, it's like you're cracking walnuts with your ass cheeks, nervous. So, yes, any attorney who doesn't, I think, is thinks it's kind of like that. That's people have said before. Like anybody who's ever been in combat has never been scared is a liar or they're insane. I think it's the same thing for attorneys. If you've gone the trial and you're not nervous, you're either lying or you're completely insane, and that's scary if you're insane. Jacob says they make good money. Yes, court reporters make good money. They are also a dying breed. Not as many people are going to school to learn it, so they are actually in demand. They're charging. It's kind of like a lot of trades. They're able to charge more and more, but it's almost obsolete. The thing is, though, it's what you use to put a record together for court. So, and that's probably going to be the standard still for a very long time. So it's not going to go away. So Young Thug's like, this, I'm bored. He's like, I could make a rap lyric about, I should write a. Ooh, they're still going up there at the bench. That's a very lengthy sidebar. Now you can see some of the attorneys aren't involved because it doesn't matter to them. I don't care about this case. This part doesn't affect my guy. Mandy says, would the gift to the subs be those bendy wiggle pens? Yes, I'd love to get a whole set of those for everybody. Where is mine? God, I stole it from the jail. Now I can't find it. Where's my stab proof pen? Where is it? Oh, strap wrench. You guys were wondering, not a strap on. Yeah, it's somewhere around here. Yes, I have one of the stabby pens you use in jail so that you can't carry a real one. No, that'd be fun, because I wonder how much those are to buy a whole box of them. I'm curious now. You ever get so nervous you poot in the courtroom? No. No, hold on one second. Sorry, guys, I had to take care of something there. Shannon makes his AI and audio. I mean, that would be helpful, but even we can see in closed captioning does not get it 100% right, and it's an issue. So, yes, I admitted to taking something from a jail. Yes. 50 cents a piece on Amazon. Jeez, that's a lot. Thought that'd be cheaper. I'll have to talk to one of the jails I deal with and ask them where they order all theirs from, because they might get it cheaper. Prison Industries. And Charlie's correct. This is how guys do it. You roll a sheet of paper around the pen, and yes, that's how you use glue. You have to be very creative in jail, and the deodorant works as a glue. Very, very true. So I will let her know you guys are saying hello. Melissa says, hello, friends. God, they're still going. Alyssa, this is Young Thug versus the state of Georgia. The RICO trial. There you go. That's what trial it is. I thought I included that already.
All right, sir. Are you prepared to call your next witness?
While the next witness is coming, can I approach one of the members of the defense?
Yes, you may.
Some information I just want.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. New information. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure this out, Nico. Hold on here. Let me see if I can edit this layout. Let me see if this works. Oh, it does work. Okay, great. We got it fixed. All right. Yep, there we go. I think that works. No, I had to try to figure it out there. This is a different prosecutor from opening, or did she get a longer wig? I think it's a little different. So there is, yeah, there's not much else, guys, right now. Sorry. Orange, right? New she has come to light. Yes, very true. New stuff. Yes, and you guys are wondering, all those people there can hear what's going on up there because they're all entitled to hear. But some of them are not listening because they don't care. But Young Thug and his guy are listening because they're the focus of all of it. But these are super long sidebars. This is actually, surprising. Oh gosh, let's get the sidebars going. This is makes me just want to. Oh, Nico's saying not asking for legal advice. This wouldn't be legal advice necessarily, but that's all you can do right there is like him, or sit there and be writing. If you want to draw. I tell a lot of my clients, do something. But I mean, when it goes on like this, everybody else is zoning out. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, do something, try to look productive. But when it goes on this long, I don't think that's unrealistic to just start going like. I mean, at some point, you can't pay attention forever. Whatever you do, don't go look at the jury and go like this. Don't do that. Yes, I don't think they're figuring out subject matter jurisdiction. They might, though.
All right, Officer Applewhite, sir, if you could please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you'd be so kind to turn and face Sergeant Ingram before you sit down.
Sounds a bit racist.
I do.
First last name.
Ian Applewhite, IANAPPLEWHAITE.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
Good. Sir, where are you currently employed?
Atlanta Police Department.
And in what year did you start with APD?
I started in June of 2016. I got sworn in 2017, January.
Okay. And what unit were you assigned to?
Oh, we're doing this. We can't show them stuff.
And how long were you in that unit?
This is unconstitutional.
Two and a half years almost.
And what was your responsibilities in the Zone 4?
I was a beat officer. I was assigned to 403s.
Them sick beats.
Just patrol, answer 911 calls. If I do have downtime, I do proactive work.
Okay. And for your entire time with Zone 4, were you always assigned to Zone 4?
No, well, I was also part of the Zone 4 fit team. Then I went to the gangs unit as a
gang
officer, then auto crimes enforcement officer, and now in Zone 2.
Okay. So what years or what months were you in the gang unit?
I want to say it was April of 2021 to January 2022, something around there.
Okay. And you also mentioned the auto crimes unit.
Yes.
What years were you in the auto crimes unit?
Started in February of 2022 until I'm confusing myself right now. February of this year, sorry. Till September.
Till September of this year?
Yes.
Okay. And September of this year, what unit are you assigned to?
Zone 2.
And what are your responsibilities in Zone 2?
Answer 911 calls, during my downtime, do proactive work.
Yes, doing proactive work. Whatever that means.
What unit were you assigned to?
Zone 415.
And were you both certified on May 9th, 2020?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is proactive work?
So if depending, the calls for services are low, you usually will go out, try to conduct a traffic stop, or you might want to go to a high drug area and try to get, some drugs or something like that.
You mentioned high drug area. Are you familiar with high drug areas based on your, will you tell me?
High drug area is known as all of Atlanta, Georgia.
What unit did you become more familiar with?
With the Zone 415.
Are you familiar with 151 Cleveland Avenue?
Yes.
How are you familiar with it?
I did an undercover buy at that location.
and why did you do an undercover buy?
The Zone 315, they were conducting detail and they asked for the Zone 415 assistance. My role was to do an undercover buy at different locations within Zone 3.
About how many undercover buys do you typically?
So it depends. I mean, if we get a lot of people, maybe that's it for today. If we get one or two, then we can probably move to the next location.
On May 9th, 2020, did you have a reason to visit 151 Cleveland Avenue?
Yes, sir.
Why? Tell me why did you visit 151 Cleveland?
So again, Zone 3 was conducting a detail. This is one of their high crime areas, and they wanted to do a little, try to put an impact on drug sales in that particular area along the Cleveland corridor. So they asked me to go undercover, try to buy some drugs.
Undercover.
So I was pointed to that direct location by one of the Zone 3 officers. Said there might be something going on in there. So I walked in. As I walked in, there was a male who was wearing white pants, white shoes with a blue jeans jacket. He was standing somewhat in the doorway. I walked in. I just asked him, "Hey man, you got some smokes?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "How much you want?" I said, "I got a 20." He reached in his pocket, pulled some weed out, wrapped it up into a lottery.
Oh, no weed.
I paid him the 20. He said, "Hey man, here's my phone number." I got his phone number, and I left. Once I got back into my car, I left the location to update the takedown units of the sale, give them a description of the mill that I bought the weed from, and just proceed to the next location.
Okay. So based on your experience at Zone 4, your time in the gang unit, time at Auto Crimes unit, and your current assignment in Zone 2, is in your opinion, is 151 Cleveland Avenue a known gang area or high crime area?
Yes, sir.
You made reference to a transaction at 151 Cleveland Avenue. Can you kind of walk me through?
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, so I pulled my undercover vehicle up at the pumps. At the same time, I do have close cover who are somewhat in the area just in case something goes wrong. I exited the vehicle. I walked into the store. Again, he was somewhat in the doorway. I walked in. I approached him. "Hey, man, you got some smokes?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "What you want?" I said, "I got 20. I gave him the 20. He rolled up some marijuana, dropped it into a lottery ticket, one of those things you find at the counter, rolled it up, I handed him the money. As I was about to walk off, he said, "Hey, big bro, here's my phone number." I took his phone number.
I'll overrule the objection.
Officer Applewhite, in what capacity were you working on May 9th, 2020?
Undercover.
And how many undercovers had you, how many times had you gone undercover before?
That actually was...
I'm sorry, he said that.
I'm going to overrule the objection. I'll sustain the objection, I should say.
Who did you come in contact with on May 9th, 2020?
I think it's Travius. I'm sorry, hold on. DeAndre BB. Yeah, DeAndre BB.
And what was the location of the sale?
151 Cleveland Avenue.
Okay, and what was that? Was that in Fulton County?
It's in Fulton County, yes.
What did Mr. BB sell you?
Marijuana. I suspected marijuana.
Did you tell Mr. BB that you were an officer?
No, sir.
What did you do after you purchased the marijuana from Mr. BB?
I immediately left the location and I relayed the information to the takedown units. One of the close covers from Zone 3, he met up with me, I believe it was at Walmart on Cleveland Avenue, and I gave him what I bought. And then I went to the next location or to Zone 3 to write my supplement report. To write a supplement report.
Did you clearly describe the city to the other officer?
Yes, sir.
And what was that description?
Black male, white pants, white shoes, blue jeans jacket.
Did other officers respond to the scene?
Yes, the Zone 3 fit and Zone 4 fit team.
About how many details have you participated in with Zone 3?
I'll rule the objection, Mr. Steele.
A lot. About over 4.
Okay, and what do those details consist of?
High crime area. Sometimes we do details for stolen vehicles, warrants, or drug area.
When other officers responded to the scene, were you still present on scene?
No, sir, I was gone.
And did that basically complete your investigation with this matter?
Yes, sir.
That's the witness, Your Honor.
Cross. Sharp. Oh, Mr. Adams.
Apple weight or apple white?
Apple weight.
Weight.
Yes, sir.
Like A. Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Got just a couple of questions for you in regards to what you just testified about, okay? And if you don't hear me, if you don't understand my question, please get my attention. Let me know. I'll be happy to repeat. Okay. All right. So this is May of 2020 that we're talking about in this case, right?
Correct.
All right. This incident happened back then, and then you were part of the Zone 4 fit team. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Okay. You were working in what is called an undercover capacity.
Correct.
Now, you used some terms earlier that I want to talk to you about. You talked, for example, about high crime area.
Correct.
Right? Zone 4 is a particular portion of the city of Atlanta, right?
Correct.
There are many different zones in the city of Atlanta.
Correct.
There are very many high crime areas in the city of Atlanta.
Correct.
Zone 4 isn't the only high crime area in Atlanta, right? Correct. So, although we're talking right now about an area that someone says is a high crime area, you can go to areas of Buckhead, Atlantic Station, where there's a lot of, where there's drugs being sold, right?
Right.
You talk also about the high drug area.
Hey,
right?
you're heavy breathing into the
A lot
mic.
of high drug areas in the city of Atlanta, aren't there? Right? It's not just Cleveland Avenue.
Right.
Right? It would be incorrect to say that the only place there are drugs sold or where there's crime that takes place is Cleveland Avenue. That wouldn't be accurate, right?
Correct.
Right. In fact, if as a police department or police officer, you chose to target a high crime area and you wanted to go into somewhere in Buckhead, you could find a high crime area in Buckhead to target, right?
Correct.
To do undercover buys at, right? Mm-hmm. To find people who sell weed, correct?
Correct.
On this day, you went, you didn't go on your own. You were told by, I presume, correct me if I'm wrong, other members of the fit team about this particular location, right?
Correct.
Right. I mean, they could have sent you anywhere else. As a matter of fact, if I heard correctly, you said that there are a couple of different areas that you would go to. You'd maybe hit one area, right? And depending on, sorry, I keep taking glasses
Much
off.
better.
I gotta see.
Keep taking your glasses off, dude.
Let's see. If we get a lot of people, then you move on, you go to another area.
No, so if I have, let's say we arrested 10 people, that's a day's work right now.
That's a good day.
It's a day's work.
Okay.
It takes a long time to process the evidence, the warrants, the transportation. So again, if I get one person, then we'll move to the next location.
Go with somebody else.
Another location. I don't,
You got a number of people. I mean, you said there's one person.
Yeah.
Right. Versus 10 people.
Right, gotcha.
One person, you got more work to do.
Right.
10 people, I'm done for the day. Okay. You ever heard the term weed man? Weed man.
Got a weed man.
I mean, you know how sometimes folks, I don't know, college kids, regular kids, adults, young folks,
adults,
weed man to go buy some weed. Oh, okay, yeah.
Got a weed man.
I've heard there is such a thing called a weed man, right? Yes. Okay. Sometimes it's one man. Sometimes it could be a woman. It could be a weed woman, right? Correct. Okay. When you got to, what's the address? 151 Cleveland Avenue. You're there to do the undercover buy, right? Yes. You are dressed in an undercover capacity. You look like a regular dude. Right. And you encounter this guy that you referenced earlier who is in white clothing, I think you said, right? Correct. You walk in and you approach him. And you ask him if you got anything. Right. You were looking to buy some weed. Correct. And lo and behold, you bucked up on the weed man and you got $20 worth of weed, right? Correct. Okay. And I think I heard you say that, and this was a young, his name was BB. Right. I think you said Durante, something like that? Durante, yes. Okay. He gives you $20 worth of weed in what'd you say, a lottery ticket or something? Yeah. Okay. So you get your $20 worth of weed from the weed man, and you're out of there. Okay. Was he by himself? No, they had maybe one or two other people in the store with him. Okay. All right. But what has just taken place is you just bought $20 of weed from this kid, right? Correct. Okay. And that appears to be the long and short of it. You left out of there. Your job for the day, at least at that point, that location was done. Correct. $20 weed sale. Correct. Okay. And then you left and you told the takedown unit. Did I get that right? Is that the name of it? That's correct. Okay. They're the folks that you would call and say, hey, I just bought $20 worth of weed. Come and get the guy. Correct. And you weren't there, but presumably they went to go get the guy. Correct. Okay. There wasn't anything else going on at the location when you pulled up, right? No. No, nothing else, just some kid who you asked for and got $20 of weed from. All right. Thanks, sir. You're welcome. That's all.
Any further cross? All right. Mr. Sharp?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm all right.
Just a couple questions.
Okay.
Mr. Beebe, first of all, do you see him in court today?
No, let me see. I can't really tell now.
Okay. And Mr. Beebe, on that day that you encountered him in the gas station, he was wearing white shoes, white pants, and a blue jean jacket, correct?
Correct.
Is there any other clothing description that you recall?
That's what I saw, and that's what I gave out. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Nothing else.
Anybody else have any cross? All right. Any redirect from the state?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Officer Applewhite?
Yes, sir.
Are you looking for crime or targeting people?
Crime.
And why are you targeting high crime areas?
Because that's where most of our incidents occur. Shootings, drugs. A lot of the community members. They complain a lot. I'm speaking for Zone 4. And that's why we're in the area doing what we're doing.
And were you looking for weed for yourself?
No, sir.
Was this for purposes of targeting high crime areas?
Correct.
No further questions.
Anything further?
You weren't targeting on this day shootouts or killings or anything like that. You were targeting a weed sale, right?
Again, the detail was a Zone 3 detail. All I know was to do was to go buy some drugs, not necessarily weed, maybe crack, some pills, depend. But at that particular time, that's what I was going for.
Your assignment, your focus at that time, at that location, right on Cleveland Avenue, was to go buy some weed.
Some drugs, yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anything further? All right, at this point in time, may Officer Applewhite be permanently or temporarily excused as a witness? All right, Officer Applewhite, thank you for your patience with us. I'm going to permanently excuse you as a witness. But don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, State, call your next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Officer Jasmine Hawkins.
All right, summon Officer Hawkins, please. Are we good with this witness not being, we okay? All right, you can film. Yes, thank you. All right, Officer Hawkins, good afternoon. Madam, come on up. If you please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, ma'am, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you'll give in the matter now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? You are so affirm?
I swear.
Okay, you can please be seated. Madam, if you could state and spell your first and last name for the record, please.
Yes, my first name is Jasmine, Jasmyn. Last name, formerly Hawkins, Hawkins. Currently Mogavero, Mogavero.
And what name is your comment?
Mogavero is fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. His last name. Oh, okay. Officer Mogavero, where are you currently employed?
City of Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Police Department?
Since August of 2017.
And what is your current assignment?
The larceny from auto unit.
And how long have you been with that larceny unit?
From February of 2023.
If you can tell the jury briefly about your history with the Atlanta Police Department, with your assignment after the academy.
Okay. So I've been sworn since March of 2018. June, I was assigned to Zone 3 Morning Watch. I worked there until February of 2020. At that time, I was assigned to the Zone 3 Crime Suppression Unit. And then I stayed there until August of 2022. And then I went to Zone 3 Day Watch for a few months until coming here. Correct.
And are you post-certified?
I am.
And were you post-certified in May of 2020?
Yes, I was.
I want to take you to May 9, 2020. What unit were you assigned with APU?
The Zone 3 Crime Suppression Unit.
And what were your job and responsibilities?
Okay, yeah, she's a cop, but the fact she's got a mask on is nonsense. She should be having to testify without it on. This is ridiculous. I'm assuming this got addressed pre-trial.
Other directive we had for that day, usually proactive policing.
And you also said you served as a patrol officer within that team.
Correct.
As a patrol officer and also worked with the crime suppression unit, were you familiar with 151 Cleveland Avenue?
Correct, yes.
How are you familiar with 151 Cleveland Avenue?
I've answered a number of 911 calls there. I've completed traffic stops where people have pulled into that gas station, directed patrols, going inside speaking with the clerks at the gas station as well.
Why are there
I am not a foamer.
Location?
151 Cleveland Avenue, it's part of it's high crime at that location and in that general area.
And when we say high crime, what are we referencing?
Shootings, drugs.
I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as Police Exhibit 78J.
They're police officers. Nothing's going to happen to them.
It should show the screen. Excuse me, 79. Where is 79J?
This is from the front of this gas station, 151 Cleveland Avenue Southwest.
And then what you just referencing is the high crime.
Correct.
Now, when you go out to patrol or you target patrol, why are you going to that? What brings you to that area to target patrol?
Just due to the nature of crimes that happen at that gas station, at that intersection, Cleveland Avenue, Old Hapeville, supervisors and probably coming from the top down, they want to make sure those areas stay safe. So they ask us to spend some extra time there.
And in your experience, are you getting any calls from community members about that location on 161?
Yes.
Avenue?
Yes, absolutely.
So in your experience, the community is concerned about what happens at there?
I sustain this form.
In your experience, is the community concerned about what happens at that location?
Yes.
Same objection, Judge.
I'll sustain this form. You can rephrase it.
Have you ever seen concerns about that location from the community?
Yes.
I hear Mr. Harvey mumbling in the background. If there's an objection, please state it.
An objection will be hearsay.
Okay, overruled. And your objection, Mr. Matthews, is overruled as well.
All right. I want to direct your attention to May 9th, 2020. Did you have the occasion to respond to 151 Cleveland Avenue?
Yes.
Why did you respond to that location?
We were in the location. There was an undercover officer at that location looking for drug activity at that gas station.
And do you recall what time of day did you respond to that location?
So that would have been about 9:46 at night.
I see you opened up an envelope. Is that your police report?
It is.
Okay. We're looking at a copy of your police report. Have refresh your memory as to what time you responded. I'm going to show you what it is. Commissioner Coach,
He may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State Exhibit 108R. Tell me if you recognize Exhibit 108R. And you can flip it.
I do, yes.
Okay. And how do you recognize 108R?
This is the narrative portion of my incident report.
Okay. And we're looking at State Exhibit 108R. Help refresh your memory what time you arrived at that location.
Yes.
Okay. You can go ahead and just read it to yourself, and once your memories are fresh, we'll look at it.
I'm all set.
She shouldn't be able to do that with the report sitting there.
At 9:46 p.m.
All right. And what happened once you arrived at that location?
We received word from the undercover officer at the location that he was just sold 1 gram of marijuana inside the gas station. And then at that time, he gave the description of a black male wearing jean jacket, white pants, white shoes, who sold him that marijuana.
Once you had that description, what did you all do?
All of the units that were there that day pulled into the gas station. There were numerous other people at the gas station as well, but that was the main focus at first. And then when I approached, I got out of the vehicle. Other units had already got out of their vehicles and were in the process of detaining that male.
Okay, so let's slow down. You said there were a number of different locations going on that. What do you mean?
So I can't give the exact number of officers that were there that day, but there were other vehicles that were associated with the vehicle that Mr. Beebe was in, and that they were seen interacting with him as well prior to our arrival.
Those other people were seen interacting with Mr. Beebe?
Correct.
All right. And what kind of car was Mr. Beebe?
He was in a white 2020 Honda Accord.
Now, were you all able to detain Mr. Beebe?
He was detained, correct.
Where was he seated when you all first interacted with Mr. Beebe?
He was in the passenger seat, front passenger seat.
And if you just said I apologize, but what kind of car was he in?
A white 2020 Honda Accord.
Okay. And once Mr. Beebe was detained, what happened next?
He was detained, and then at that point I started my search of the vehicle.
Okay. And what if anything was found when you did your search?
So there was 13 grams of marijuana in a clear baggie that was found inside the vehicle, the passenger seat, as well as a marked $20 bill that the undercover officer initially had, and that was used during that sale of that 1 gram of marijuana.
Was there anything else recovered?
From inside the vehicle, yes. There was a small backpack, a multicolored backpack. It was on the center console, front center console, and there was additional marijuana found inside that backpack.
And who did that backpack belong?
That was Miss Chastity Williams.
Once you found the marijuana inside the car, did you arrest Mr.
I didn't place him under arrest. He already was detained, but at that point, the marijuana on the seat was determined to be his.
Okay. And was there anything else recovered from Mr. Beebe?
There was also a firearm recovered from him.
And was it recovered from his person?
Yes.
And that firearm that was recovered, was that firearm ran? Was it run? Did
Yes.
You run it? Did you run
Yes, it was.
And what happened once you ran the firearm?
It was.
Foundation, also saying it's just, let me just rephrase it now.
Sure. Did you recover a firearm?
I didn't personally recover it, but it was recovered on scene, yes.
Okay. And when that firearm was recovered, did you run, was the serial number run?
Jackson Foundation, who ran? That's the same objection.
Do you know who ran the firearm?
I ran the firearm.
You ran the firearm, okay. And when you ran the firearm, what happened?
The firearm came back as stolen.
And did you ultimately collect that firearm?
It was collected, yes.
Okay. And what about the? Now, on that day, were there any other arrests?
Yes.
And were you directly involved in the information either of others?
No. Thank you.
Yes, you may.
I'm going to first show you, was it marked as State's Exhibit 90K, 89K, and 90K? Tell me if you first recognize State's Exhibit 89 and 90K.
Yes, 89K I recognize.
Okay, how did you first recognize 89K?
This is the 1 gram of marijuana that was sold to the undercover officer.
All right.
Gram of marijuana. Oh no.
This is the remaining marijuana that was recovered from inside the vehicle.
Okay, and was that recovered again? Where was that recovered again from inside the vehicle?
On the passenger seat.
And where was Mr. Beebe sitting there?
He was in the passenger seat.
All right. And does that appear to be, based upon looking at the bag, what you collected back in bags once you tested?
Correct.
You're not just trying to say like the 10 or 6 exhibit 89K and 90K in that.
Any objection to 89 or 90K?
Oh no, these guys do weed. No, this is how they are doing this. They're doing this to establish like underlying criminal offenses here, guys.
9 and 90K are admitted. Maybe you probably should use it.
What? So, John says I just smoked a gram. I scared you. Sorry.
I'm now going to show you what's the market 91K. You can look at it, tell me if you recognize that.
No. Gonna get the gat out. Glock, Glock.
This is the firearm that was turned in, that was on Mr. Beebe's person, and the serial number matches as well.
Okay, so that appears to be the gun that was recovered off Mr. Beebe back in May of 2020.
It does.
All right, Your Honor, it's not take like the 10 or 6 to the 91K is evidence.
Any objection?
Objection.
All right, stage 91K is admitted and may be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. Once you collected the evidence and turned it into property, did that include your involvement in this case?
It did.
All right, I have no further questions.
Cross. Go ahead, Mr. Adams, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Rank, please.
Investigator.
Investigator, thank you. And you'll excuse me, I heard your name earlier. I heard you say Hawkins, but I think you said it's changed, right?
Correct. It's Magavero.
Magavero?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Investigator Magavero.
Correct.
All right, so just a couple questions, if you don't mind, about this incident back in, and I keep hearing May the 9th, but it was actually May the 8th, wasn't it?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so if I heard correctly, you responded because there was an undercover sale that had been made at that location, right?
Correct.
You advised that there was a $20 marijuana sale that had been made. I don't know if you knew at the time the name of the person was Bibi, but you had a description of the individual.
Correct.
Right. And when you got to the location, you saw someone fitting that description, jean jacket, white pants, and that person was in a vehicle.
When I saw him, he was no longer inside the vehicle.
Okay. So the first time that you get to the location, he's already been detained or taken into custody or whatever by other police officers.
Correct. They were actively detaining him.
Okay. And they found, let's see, the item that you were just asked to identify a little while ago that I think is over here now. So you identified two things. One of them was the 1 gram of marijuana that was sold to the undercover officer. That's different, right?
Correct.
And then there was some marijuana found in the car that Mr. Beebe was supposed to have been in.
On the passenger seat, correct.
On the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't in the car when you pull up, right?
Correct.
Okay. You just know that you were told that there was some additional marijuana found on the passenger seat in the vehicle that he supposedly was in before you got there.
Correct.
All right. And what, 14 grams of marijuana?
Correct.
This right here?
Correct.
Okay. And $20 was the $20 that $20 that the undercover officer had used to buy this 1 gram of marijuana, right?
Correct.
Okay. Started off your pen, and it was done and was found there for this gentleman, Mr. B. He was found on him or in the car where he was supposed to be.
On him.
Okay. This white Honda Accord was determined to have been owned by a young lady or a lady. I'm not sure if it was young or not. Chastity Williams, right?
Correct.
She was detained, and I think, was there some marijuana found on her as well?
It was not found on her person. It was inside of a backpack that she advised was hers.
Okay. And there were some other people there at the location that the police had detained and searched and I guess found some marijuana on also?
Correct.
Okay, so it sounds like everybody there, whoever happened to be there at the gas station at the time, was either stopped or if they were coming into the gas station was stopped and detained and searched, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, sorry, not everybody. There were people that were not detained there as well.
At least 6 folks, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ranging in things from a couple grams of marijuana. That's the kind of, I mean, essentially that's what happened, you guys. Whoever they was detained, if they have some marijuana on them, well, they're either going to jail or they're getting cited or they're getting arrested or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was the extent of your involvement in this case.
Yes.
Were you part of the FIT unit or the FIT team at that point? Okay. Everyone who was there, all of the law enforcement officers who were there were FIT team officers, right?
No.
No? They're just other regular beat officers who were called to the scene to assist?
There were canine officers there as well who are not part of the FIT team.
Got you. Because, of course, if you got some marijuana, or if you think that you're going to find some marijuana, you want to have the canine around to go ahead and kind of sniff around and find whatever's there. Is that about accurate?
Correct.
Okay. This was a marijuana buy operation. This wasn't some sort of gang operation, was it?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Magavaro?
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, you're asking who's out on bail. Young Thug's been in jail for nearly 590 days, almost 600 days at this point. He's been in jail almost this whole damn time.
All right, okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to take a comfort break, ladies and gentlemen. Let's come back at 4 o'clock, okay? And then we'll start back at that time. Mr. Sharp, you can ask your questions.
Just 1 minute break.
Recess, 15 minutes.
Good Lord. Good Lord. All right, guys. So let's put that on the back burner right now. So there's two super chats things I need to catch up on here. Brandon Lesko for $4.99 says you have the 3 loudest cloak clearings ever recorded on live stream. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Then there's Bad Weather Biker for $10. Thank you very, very much. Saying combine your model building and foaming to make a working O scale Schwer Gustav. If you guys aren't aware, foamers are the autists who freak out over trains and go and film them and know everything about them. And for the record, I am not a foamer. Cedar Rose has been a member for 4 months. Says, what's the chance these witnesses getting capped? Yeah, these guys are cops. Nothing's going to happen to them. So, and then Richard saying, not to get into the drama, did I hear any more about Nick and Lawn Lumber? I don't know anything about it. I have no idea. So, no, I don't have anything extra. Sorry if you're looking for more good, if you're looking for more tea. And Bad Weather Biker saying there are only 2 types of people who know what foamers are. Railroad employees and foamers. Since you're not a railroad employee, that's okay. I'm a foamer and own it. I am not a foam. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me here. Look at me. I am not a foamer. I know railroad employees, though. Does the judge know about subject matter jurisdiction of the grounds? I don't know. I don't know. Bifron says they're all in custody. Yeah, there's a bunch of them that are in custody. So the way this worked out, there were 27 of them total indicted. 13 of them have gotten their trial split away. 9 others have pled out. I mean, there's a lot of guys who have bailed at this point. These guys are going to trial on their own. So this is Young Thug, a guy named Yak Gott, if you know who I'm going to say some names and I don't know if you know who they are. Yak Gott, Shannon Stillwell, Rodalius Ryan. He's in prison. That guy is in prison already doing a life sentence for murder. Then a guy, a rapper known as Qua. And his what's his name here? Hold on, I know it. It's Marquavious Huey. So it's Quay. So those are his co-defendants right now that are in the courtroom with him. play some Young Thug while watching. I'm sure we get a copy strike for that, so no, I don't want to do that. As much as the fun that would be so far. Give me my thoughts so far. The thing is, this is the boring stuff. To do a RICO case properly, you have to lay out the beginnings. You have to show that there's crime going on. Okay, once you show the crime's going on, who is behind the crime? Okay, and then is there somebody in charge of that crime? Because Young Thug is accused of being the YSL gang. He's accused of being at the head of it, this criminal empire. So they're starting off to show all these crimes that happened. And this focuses around, in 2015, there was a murder of a guy. And that's really the focus of all of this, that he was involved in orchestrating the murder, renting the car, ordering the hit, all this stuff. Well, they're building up to that. But this takes a little while. Barring a medical condition or something like that, is it wrong to stand up during trial? Well, you can't just, like, if it's in the middle of, like, something's going on, you can't just stand up unless you have a reason. Now, some courts make you stand up to object. Some courts, I can just sit here at the table and say, Your Honor, I object. But no, just to stand up on your own, no. If you're having problems, like you need to stand up or something happens, generally you make that known to the court beforehand. Your Honor, I've got a medical condition, or I'm really old. I need to stand up once in a while. And the judge will look over and he'll be like, oh, it looks like you're having a little bit of discomfort. Do we need to take a minute? And we might take a minute, or like the judge says, okay, well, we're going to take like 2-3 minutes, stand up, stretch out. They won't send everybody to the courtroom, but like 2-3-5 minutes, stand up, stretch your legs. That's not uncommon at all. So when I hurt my knee, that was an issue. When I tore my patella tendon, to stand up once in a while in court, because it did hurt just keeping my knee. Well, part of the time it was in an immobilizer, so it's like, Your Honor, my leg is straight, like straight as a board. Can I stand up to stretch out my leg? And courts would let me do that times. Thankfully, though, I didn't have a trial in that time frame. I pushed them all out because it was going to be uncomfortable to sit for hours on end. But you're in like a 20-minute hearing. Yeah, it's hard to sit still for that long if you're having problems. Egalitarian says, I don't have enough time to be a foamer. Trains are cool, though. Stray says, have I picked out my Lego set yet? Yeah, I've got a Lego set, and it's one of those, was supposed to do it for Thanksgiving, one of those Thanksgiving centerpieces. So that's what I'll be doing. Mr. E says, what's a foamer? I'm lost. Okay, well, all right, we're going to learn about foamers today. That's not what I thought we would do, but all right, let's see here. Foamer train guys. All right. Okay, so this is what a foamer is. A foamer is an autist who's obsessed with trains. Here we go. This is a foamer. The guy taking the video is a foamer. Like, they know the specific locomotives.
Okay. I've been waiting for this moment for months, and it's finally here. I'm finally going to get a heritage unit on camera. Yeah! All right. Look at that. A 1953 E8. Woo-hoo! Oh, yeah. Listen to that bell. Yeah, listen to that bell. Oh, take a look at that. Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn! Oh, my God! Oh, she's beautiful! She is beautiful! Yeah! All right! Oh, my... Oh! 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 Oh, no! It's a PL2, too! Oh, the SNC 52! Oh, my God! Oh, we're going to watch this. Oh, this is special. This is special. Oh, that horn gives me the chills. Oh, and the chills have absolutely nothing to do with how cold it is here. Oh, but that doesn't stop a foamer. Oh, especially when it comes to heritage equipment. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Blue and gray. Oh, couple to the Iowa Pacific, number 518. Woo-hoo! Ah! Woo! Listen to that horn. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh, look at that. All right. Oh. Yeah, I wonder who TC Durant is. Oh well. This is just awesome. I've been waiting for this.
So that's an example of what a foamer is. Yeah. Oh boy. So now you know. Now you know. Silent foamer. I swear to God. You guys start sending me little model trains, I'm gonna get mad. Josh Moses sounds like foamer cope. Yes, potentially foamer. To this day, I still cringe when people say marijuana. Yeah, well, in Ohio, marijuana is spelled with an H legally, so it's marijuana. Since that word was originally adopted by the English vocabulary to slander black people. Yes, the devil's lettuce. Yes, very true. Marquavius is truly a name of all time, yes. It's a name like Hannibal. It'll go down chiseled into history. Tootly Pip says Free Zachariah Anderson. Very true. Oh, the guy's name was Donovan Thomas Jr. in 2015. Okay. Yep. That's the guy who got killed. That's all kind of focuses around. Brittany says, I know that guy's voice. Alpha Fox says, next contestant on Love on the Spectrum. Bernie says it's this clip. Yes. Yes, he's foaming. I can't stop foaming. And Dr. Coffin knows. Yes, he's cooming. Egalitarian says, is that real? Yes, that's 100% real. Joe is saying, I'm excited about the train too. I'm going to ban you. Yes, it's too pornographic the way he's treating the train. He's going to wait. Nope. He just came. Bad Weather Biker for $10 says, to be fair, my south lot line is Union Pacific's main line. Had the big boy go past my house 2 years ago. Union Pacific is used to be one of the big time. It still is big time railroads like CSX, Conrail, all that stuff. I don't know what big boy means. Is that a specific locomotive? Union Pacific. Big boy. Oh, okay. So the big boy is this thing here. It's a steam locomotive. That's pretty huge. God, that's actually pretty massive. Sago by his house. All right. But yes, thank you for the $10, Biker. I appreciate it. Mr. Squiggles for $4 says, or 14 months. Thank you for the support. Says, the more you know. And it's always important to know. Thomas the Tank Engine is inbound. Yes. I do not want trains. I swear to God, do not send me trains for Christmas. Please do not. You know, that's the thing. Don't come. No. Don't send me trains. Please don't send me trains. Send me all the trains. Yes, that's exactly it. Don't be ashamed of being a foamer. I'm not a foamer. It's not a tumor. Yes, I'm just like that. I'm not the foamer. Mr. E says Union is the biggest railroad company in the United States. Okay. Tupac the Tank Engine. Yes. What am I looking up, Roscoe? Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, trains. Yes. I want the... Then also says, I want the trans, not trains. So future Mrs. Martin, I know you're out there watching this, saying, need a bearded train ornament for Christmas. Ah! Oh my God. The St. Paul Express now boarding. The St. Paul Express now boarding. Capacity 1 passenger. Yes, and Mr. E is bringing up a point. If you work for union, if you work for the railroads in general, you don't pay Social Security because you earn a separate thing. The railways have their own federal retirement. In fact, they have their own labor act, separate from the National Labor Relations Act. It's older than the National Labor Relations Act. They have an entire... The railroads operate in an entire legal framework completely separate from the rest of the United States. And it's very elaborate. It's got its own protections and weird idiosyncrasies. It's an entire specialty of law with massive subset specialties of law. It's very, very unique. The railroads have massive power in the 1800s, and they've never given it up. So, yeah. Viking says foamers are better than furries. Okay, fair enough. Nico says that's getting clipped. I'm sure it will. Yes, that job at Omni Set for Life. Yes, the railroad jobs are. Yeah, if you can get on with the railroads, and you're not a fuck up, life is good. So, dude, Sean, this is my angle now. Foamer law. By Francis, I worked for Amtrak until 9/11 happened. What did you do on 9/11? You know, was it not an airplane that hit the towers? Was it like one of the Excella trains? Just yes. What did you know? How many Saudis were operating your train that day? Huh, sir? Sir? Answer me, by Franz. I get egalitarian bitch for 199. Thank you. Oh, that's a very wholesome avatar. Group hug. Says thanks for the laugh, Sean. Much needed. You're welcome. Mr. E says I like that you teach people. Well, sometimes I do. Sometimes I teach people things. Thomas got radicalized. Porcelain Thunder says it ain't what it used to be. Schedules can be pure hell. Yes, there are times where it does suck, but overall the railroads do a pretty good job of taking care of their people. They're unlike the UAW and things like that or other union setups. Their pensions are basically federally protected and guaranteed. So there's no way in hell anything would ever happen to them. Overall, it's not a bad gig compared to other jobs in America. So. Aaron says, for 4 months, are you keeping up the Elijah McClain case? Yes. I brought it up a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now. They just tried the last of the officers. They got acquitted. Only one officer has been convicted, and that he was the kid in 2019. He was walking down the street with the mask on, and they illegally arrested him. And when he fought back, they had the paramedics give him a bunch of ketamine, and it killed him. So one officer got charged with like negligent homicide, which is this ticky-tack thing. One of the other ones got the ones who got acquitted are back on the force, and now the paramedics are currently on trial. The trials are not being televised, which sucks because I really wanted to watch those. So that's the thing that sucks about the Elijah McClain case. And it's a tragedy because he got killed for no reason. He literally did nothing wrong. That kid literally didn't do a damn thing wrong and died because of that. Colostomy Bag says, I have a friend who's 24 and making $60K with no degree, just sitting on a truck all day on the railroads. Yeah, that's the thing. Railroads are not, like I said, if you can get in them, they are a good gig. Especially when you're young, if you're willing to... Oh, Valhalla Waits is watching it? Oh, I'm going to have to figure out how he got a hold of that because I'd like to hear it or see it. Bernie said, when did they... So the Aurora, Colorado fire department had a standing policy with the police that they were just shooting people up with ketamine when they were like freaking out on them. It was an actual thing, and they stopped doing it in 2019 after Elijah died, but it had been a long-standing policy. Just stream snipe them. Well, no, we're doing Young Thug today. We're not going to stop. I would like to do the Elijah McClain thing, the whole thing, though, at some point. So that's why I want it. So if we're going to cover that, I want to cover it from beginning to end. I want to cover the whole thing because it's not a super long trial. So that's what we'll do there because this is about to start back up. So we'll get going on this one still more. We'll probably do it like Ethan Liming's trial where we'll watch it in the evenings and catch up on things. Can I redirect to Valhalla when I end this? Yeah, hold on. Let me work on that. All right. Let's see if Valhalla waits. Guys, tell Valhalla to I can't find him. Oh wait, yep, there we go, I found him. So yeah, they're in day 5 of the trial. So I don't want to start that now. I want to have that ready when the time comes so I can watch that. So that's what we'll do there. He knows the RICO, does he? Hits differently. Oh, jeez. Gotta worry if you go too hard, you might bump into the Baldo. Might be a little awkward. Are you guys frozen or are there more? There's no new chats. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, somebody laughed. All right. Yeah, so it's still working. I don't know what the heck is going on here. Let's see if there's an up-to-date. Nope. Still sitting there. Although, think about this. Look at George's seal. I have a big concern about this. Look at this thing. It says wisdom, justice, and moderation. Moderation. The state of Georgia is built upon Jannies. I mean, think about that. One of the 13 original colonies, and one of their hallmarks, their foundation principles, is being a Janny. The state of Georgia. Absolutely disgusting. I don't even know why they're. We should kick them out of America. There's no room for that in America. We don't need more Jannies. Absolutely disgusting. Blades, they do it for free. Yes. Just, I can't abide. I can't abide by a state where people are Jannies as part of their pride. You know, the South will rise again. Jannies everywhere. Yes, Sherman was right. Yes, he was. Sherman was 100% right. He had to run those Jannies off. Run all those Jannies out. Okay, it says, who brought it up, Sean? Or the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. They're back on the live stream I'm looking at. Oh, shit. Oops. Sorry about that. It looks like they were starting back up, but now they're in a sidebar. I accidentally paused it up here. My bad. So let's see what happens. Oh, come on. This is redonkulistic. All right, well, what are we arguing about here? Come on now. So come on, let's go, guys. Come on. This is just dragging on. This is horrible. Better audio on a Ring camera. Yeah, I can't hear it either. They get to listen to what's going on up at the discussions. Their headphones allow for that, but nobody else does. Stray says, have you ever seen anything like this before? No, I've never seen a trial this big. Although it sounds like this is probably how a RICO trial for the mob would have gone, but even back then. You know, look, he's discussing complex legal theory, no doubt. He's a smart guy. Yes. Joe Schmosha, Six Semper Jannies. Yes. Death to Jannies. Let's go, Judge. Let's go, Judge. No one will hear of this.
Members of the media, before we call in our Officer Fikes, at some point, is he going to be the next witness?
No, Your Honor, we have one witness before Officer Fikes.
Okay, are we going to get to Officer Fikes for today, you think?
It depends. I don't know. I guess we're almost finished with cross, and our next witness, Mr. Garcia, is not a long witness.
Okay, all right. Members of the media, when we call Officer Fikes, given the issues that I told you earlier, not this next witness is fine, but with Officer Fikes, if you would not film him as well, okay? And I believe that the state is going to organize a meeting for all the counsels for their respective media outlets to discuss with you next steps. So that's in the works and that's coming. But for the next witness, okay, Officer Fikes, please don't videotape him, okay? All right, thank you. All right. Can I call in the juries, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, all right. Sergeant Ingram, is everybody ready?
Oh, got a problem with this guy again.
Do we need to have a conversation with the bench?
Oh, God, no.
Do we need to have a conversation with the gentleman at the bench here?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Counsel, can you all be seated for me just a second? And I'll have a representative from the defense, please.
No.
State, would you please come up?
No. No. Oh, no. Please. Gee, why couldn't they be doing this in the 20 minutes they're fucking around? I mean, really, just...
Okay, it's talk radio.
Oh! God almighty. Oh my God. Just what we need more of this. Officer Bikes. Yeah, we're not there yet. So I'm not sure who's up now. Somebody. This guy might be... The issue they brought up before was the issue of if somebody's testified via Zoom, that's when the jury was accidentally shown. So I wonder if that's the problem that's going to happen here. So we'll find out very quickly, but god dang it. This sucks. This is horrible. Oh no! It makes you want to jump off a cliff. Oh my god. Lady Francis E. Tech, Squire's assistants. Oh. Paint dry. Speaking of paint dry, you can paint. Jason, this is also a weird stream. It's a practicing lawyer following a stream of a trial. Maybe you can call it LawTube. Yeah, maybe. What happened? Every time there's some sort of issue, there's some sort of evidentiary issue going on with this guy coming up, or the evidence they're going to present, or what he's going to testify about, that the defense has to object to. So they're doing it off the they're doing it up on the record outside of the presence of the jury because they're shutting off the mics. Thank God it's not just the white noise nonsense. Steven says, I can go for a 2-hour bike ride and this will be on. It might. It might. Also, guys, let me know, is my mic still sounding weird or is it better? So that's what happened. Yes, what's happening? It's justice is happening. That's what's happening. I imagine sound worse than the white noise. Yeah. Okay. Ugh. Dang it. Yeah, this is just, oh. I don't know. Let's see if there's a. Yeah, let's see what one of the long crime reporter ladies is talking about, because this does help. What is? Yeah, so this is just getting ridiculous. This is just, makes me want to. All right, here we go.
Okay, are our jurors ready? Yes, sir. All right, okay. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. Okay, summon our jurors, please.
You better stand up for the jury.
All right, for the jury.
Actually, hold on. Gotta readjust my seat. That is Young Thug, and that is his attorney, Brian Steele. They have their own little handshake they do.
what Aaron can come up with.
Oh, who's eating? Somebody's clicking around a Jolly Rancher.
Thank you, Sergeant Ingram. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Yes, Brian Steele has a very good reputation, very good attorney.
All right. Mr. Shaw, you ready? Yes. Okay, come on up.
May it please the court. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's Investigator Magraville?
Magavero.
Magavero. Okay. All right, thank you. Couple questions. 151 Cleveland Avenue, this gas station. Is that, are you familiar with that area, generally speaking?
Yes.
Okay. That is right across from where the McDonald's used to be on Cleveland Avenue.
Correct.
All right. So, were you the lead? Would you consider yourself the lead officer in this case?
Yes, they asked me to take the case.
Okay. And you're the one that wrote the report?
Correct.
Okay. And you were responsible for making charging decisions in this case?
It was a collective effort.
Okay. Were you one of the people consulted?
Yes.
And ultimately you were in charge of documenting everything, correct?
Correct.
Did you take out the warrants as well?
It was a collective effort for that.
Okay. And I'm not going to ask you specifically about any laws, but generally speaking, as an officer, are you trained in criminal laws?
Yes.
Is that part of the training offered by Atlanta Police Department?
Yes.
And did you go through that training?
Yes.
Now, are you familiar generally with the criminal code of Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. All right. My understanding is Mr. Beebe is not the only individual that was arrested at 151 Cleveland Avenue that afternoon or evening.
Correct.
Okay. Also arrested was Chastity Williams, correct?
Correct.
Okay. For drugs.
Correct.
Shaquille Scott was also arrested.
Correct.
For drugs, including possession with intent to distribute drugs, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Antonio Johnson was also arrested for drugs.
Correct.
And I'm going to try with the pronunciation of this in Madam Court Reporter. It's, I believe it's Cyquavious. Sequavious Martin was also arrested at the scene, correct?
Correct.
For drugs?
Correct.
And a Curtis Barber, who was 35 years old at the time, correct? Which would make him 39 today, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was also arrested for drugs, a firearm, and for possession with intent drugs.
Correct.
So you arrested, besides Mr. Beebe, 5 other individuals for drug offenses, 2 other individuals with possession with intent to distribute charges, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that was based on your training that you received about the criminal laws of Georgia?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, in any of these individuals, in the arrest of Chastity Williams, Shaquille Scott, Antonio Johnson, Sanquavious Martin, or Curtis Barber, were any of those individuals, or Durante Beebe, were any of those individuals charged with Gang Act violations?
That I do not know.
Well, did you charge them with Gang Act violations?
I did not.
Okay. And those same 6 individuals, Durante Beebe, Chastity Williams, Shaquille Scott, Antonio Johnson, Sanquavious Martin, and Curtis Barber, do you see any of those individuals here today?
I can't see everybody, but no.
Thank you.
Any further examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Matthews Jr. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, how are you?
So back in May 2020, at the 151 Cleveland, there were a number of officers who arrived to the scene, correct?
Correct.
And you did conjure a report in connection to your involvement in that case, correct?
Correct.
But in your report, you did not reference any video, graffiti, any photographs taken or any video that was taken of any gang graffiti at the premises of the young people, correct?
Correct. I did not.
And as a result of your involvement in that case, you didn't refer to any gang units? You didn't refer to any gang units in reference to your involvement within that case?
No, did not.
Anybody else from the defense? Okay, any further redirect from the state?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. As a Zone 3 officer with the Suppression Unit, are you responsible for taking out gang one?
No, I am not.
Who's responsible for taking out any gang one?
Anybody who's on the gang unit.
I believe both Mr. Adams and Mr. Sharp asked you about some of the other individuals found and some of the other items that were found at this scene during this evening. So we talked about Ms. Chastity Williams. She's the person who had was she the person in the car and had a book bag with marijuana?
Correct.
Sustained.
Ms. Shaquille Scott, what drugs were found with Ms. Scott?
Miss Scott had a pink purse on her person. Upon search of that purse, there was a total of 29 grams of marijuana located in a clear plastic bag. There were 15 smaller bags of marijuana as well. There were 2.2 grams of crack cocaine, 9.7 grams of MDMA located in 12 separate baggies, and 1.6 grams of powder cocaine.
Okay, that actually is a nice bit of drugs. Whew.
And as it relates to the next one, Mr. Antonio Johnson, what was found? What things of drugs were found with Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Johnson admitted to having a blunt inside the car.
I'm over the objection.
Okay. Going to Mr. Quamarvious Martin, what thing drugs did he have with him?
3 grams of marijuana located in his right pants pocket.
And was Mr. Martin actually arrested, or was he given, or was something else around?
He was given a copy of charges.
Okay. And let me go back as to Miss Chastity Williams. Was she arrested, or was she just given something else?
She was given a copy.
Did we have a...
Okay, so
oh,
not
yeah.
arrested. And Mr. Curtis Barber, what drugs did you find with Mr. Curtis Barber?
He had 34 grams of marijuana, as well as 8.9 grams of crack cocaine.
The marijuana, where is it all in one bag or individual?
That was, the marijuana was in individual bags, and then the crack cocaine was all in one bag.
Did he have, Mr. Barber have cash?
He did.
How much cash did he have?
$2,000.
And did he have any weapons?
He did.
What kind of weapon did he have?
A black Keltec PRM. Black Keltec PRM 30.
And were there any other weapons found? So we had the gun that was found with Mr. Beebe, this gun that was found with Mr. Barber. Are there any other?
No. Not that I recall.
We can take a look at your report of professional.
No, those are the 2 firearms.
Okay. And all those were found at 151 Cleveland Avenue.
Correct.
And again, was that what you call it, was told, or was called a high crime area?
Correct.
I've never heard of that. Thank you.
Anything further?
So it sounds like there were a host of people at that location who were either possessing drugs, right?
Correct.
Or possessing with the intent to distribute drugs, right? Or maybe even selling drugs, right?
Correct.
A lot of people, a lot of different people, right?
Correct.
Okay. You were asked a while ago whether or not you took out any, or you have the responsibility for taking out quote unquote gang warrants. You heard that question, right?
Yes.
And you said no, that's not your responsibility.
Correct.
But someone else, if advised by you, and if you thought it was warranted, would have the ability to do so, right?
Not only if advised by me.
Okay. If advised by anyone, any law enforcement personnel who had any indication that there was some gang stuff or activity going on at the location that night, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is May the 8th of 2020, right?
Correct.
Am I correct that in 2020, 2021, whatever, no one took out any gang warrants in regards to what happened at that location on May the 8th of 2020? No one took out any gang warrants, right?
I can't answer that question.
Did you?
I did not, no.
You advise anybody to?
No, I would not.
Are you aware of anybody taking out any gang warrants based on what happened at that
Uh-oh.
location on that day that we're talking about?
No, I'm not aware of any.
All right. The last person that Madam Prosecutor asked you about.
So much for the gang activity.
Robert, I think was his name. The guy who had some drugs and some money on him. What was he wearing? What describe his clothing to me if you don't mind.
I don't recall.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have. Thank you, Judge.
Well, that kind of puts a hole in the state's case.
Any further redirect, madam?
Just one quick question.
Sure, we'll see.
In addition to the $20 that Mr. BB had, was he found any other money? Mr. BB, in addition to the $20
that the marked $20, did Mr. Beam have any other money on him?
Yes.
Okay, how much?
$105.
All right, thank you.
All right, anything further? All right, at this point in time,
Yes, Judge?
Officer Magdalene Bureau, be permanently temporarily excuse the witness.
Permanently, Your Honor.
All right, madam, I'm going to permanently excuse you as a witness. Thank you for your patience with us this afternoon. Please don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, madam. Ms. Hilton and members of any member of the defense, can I see you all for a second?
This is awful. So what's happening now? I don't know. I think the court's trying to figure out like how late are they going to go today. But God, that was so awful. Ultimately, well, would you have done any gang stuff? No. Well, there you go. I mean, it's looking like it wasn't real gang activity then. You know, they're trying to say this is all gang related. Well, your gang expert's just like, nope. Your investigator's like, yeah, I didn't bother with it. So sounds like some real gang activity to me. But what do I know? I'm just a simple man from Ohio. That's all I am. So we'll see what this changes into. Hold on here. So let's figure out what's going on. All right, here we go. Are we boring? Oh, no, this is just awful.
All right, Mr. Garcia, good afternoon, sir. Come on up and approach the witness stand. Once you get there, before you sit down, if you'd be so kind to turn and face Sergeant Ingram, be sworn as a witness.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I do. My name is Edwin Garcia, first name spelled Edwin, last name spelled Garcia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Garcia, where are you employed?
I'm employed at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Division of Forensic Sciences in the Chemistry Section. This is also known as the State Crime Lab.
And how long have you been working at the GBI?
I've been working at the GBI for a little over a year now.
And can you tell the jury a little bit about your education and training?
Certainly. So I earned my Bachelor's of Science degree in chemistry from Morehouse College, and I underwent the Identification of Genus Cannabis training program at the GBI.
It's all about weed. Oh, no.
Yes, I do.
It's a little white for Morehouse.
I have to fulfill hours of training throughout the year at the GBI, and I'm also still undergoing lectures that are oftentimes presented at the GBI.
And Mr. Garcia, have you personally had the occasion to chemically analyze legal material?
Yes, I have.
How many times?
A little over 200.
And how many reports have you prepared in connection with possession?
Yes, a little over 200 as well.
Mr. Garcia, what is Delta-9 THC?
So Delta-9 THC or Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, it's a cannabinoid found in the plant material of the genus cannabis, and it is the main psychoactive ingredient in cannabis.
And how do you test for it?
So to test for Delta-9 THC in plant material, I first collect a net weight of the evidence. A net weight is the weight of the evidence without any packaging. After this, I then conduct microscopy on the evidence, where I look at the smaller characteristic features of the plant material. After this, I then conduct gas chromatography mass spectrometry, abbreviated GCMS. Here, I'll prepare my sample, then I'll run it on the instrument. It'll go through the first part of the instrument known as the gas chromatographer. At this point, what the gas chromatographer will do will separate the sample that I prepared into the individual components that make it up. Once it exits the first part of the instrument, it'll then enter the mass spectrometer, the second part. Here, what happens is that all those separated individual components will be fragmented. Those fragments will then be collected as data in the form of a graph known as a spectrum. I can then compare the spectrum of my sample data to that of a Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol reference spectrum to see if there are consistencies.
If your test is performed accurately, what will those tests normally yield?
If the tests are performed accurately, the microscope will let me see the smaller features and will let me know if it is plant material of the genus cannabis, and the gas chromatographer mass spectrometer will let me know approximately how much Delta-9 THC is in the evidence submitted.
And is this type of drug testing that you describe subject to peer review?
Yes, this is subject to peer review.
And I understand that control how these tests are performed.
Yes, there are standards, there are policies in place at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
I want to back up just a little bit. You mentioned that they are subject to peer review. Who reviews?
So peer review means that, and for my cases, 100% of my cases are peer reviewed. This means that another scientist in the GBI crime lab reviews my cases to make sure there aren't any errors of any kind.
So going back forward to the standards, are there best practices as well?
Yes, there are best practices.
Okay. And is this type of testing generally accepted within the field of forensic testing?
Yes, this testing is generally accepted in the forensic field.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state will tender Mr. Garcia as an expert in cannabis identification.
Anybody wish to avoid our, Mr. Garcia? All right, hearing none, the court will designate Mr. Garcia as an expert in the area of forensic chemistry.
Thank you, Your Honor. In connection with Mr. Garcia, the next U.S. case number 2020-101-2426. Did you test any leafy material in this case?
Yes, I did test leafy material in this case.
Okay. And Your Honor, permission to approve?
You may, sir.
Okay. Mr. Garcia, I'm showing what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 93K. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
This is the case, the report that I concluded to for the evidence that I tested.
Has that report, has there been any altercation, modifications to that report since you last offered it?
No, there haven't been any.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will move to admit the state's proposed exhibit 93K.
Any objection to state's 93K? All right, hearing none, state's 93K is admitted and may be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Mr. Garcia, again, I'm sorry. In this case?
So the items that I tested were 2 bags of leafy material. The item that was submitted was item 9. I tested sub-item 9A, 1 bag of leafy material. And item 10, which had 1 bag of leafy material, which I tested as well, making the 2 bags of leafy.
And did you use the principles that you just talked about when you performed the test in these cases?
Yes, I did.
And based on your testing, were you able to reach a conclusion?
I was able to reach a conclusion.
And what was that conclusion, sir?
For item 9, sub-item 9A, my analysis confirms the presence of plant material of the genus cannabis.
That's absolutely boring. Just
3% tetrahydrocannabinol concentration. For item 10, my analysis confirms
absolutely
the presence
ludicrous.
of plant material of the genus cannabis. And contains less than approximately 1% tetrahydrocannabinol.
No further questions at this time.
Cross. Mr. Adams.
So, I see you still have that report up there?
This makes you want to take a nap right now. This is ridiculous. Just.
All right. This is a report prepared by you in regards to the items that you tested, right?
Correct, yes.
And am I correct that you tested these items on, let's see, well, actually it was received by you on January 27th of 2023.
Is it fine if I look at the report?
Please do.
Yes, January 27th, 2023.
Okay, so items that were seized back in May of 2020 didn't get to you until January 2023, this year.
I don't know when they were received, but I do know that I got them this year.
Okay, you don't know when the person, I'm sorry, let me see that for a second.
Yes, sir.
All right, you would agree with me that this has a agency reference number and a case individual at the top list, is that right?
Correct, yes, the report does have that.
The case subject, or the person listed is someone named Delonte B, right?
Yes, that's what it says on the report.
Okay, you don't know if and when that person, Delonte B, was charged with any sort of offense, but you know that you didn't test this item
to determine what it was until January of this year, right?
Yes, I don't know when the subject was charged. I just know that I received this evidence this year, and this year is when I tested it.
All right. Ms. Garcia, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
That's a little funky. It's a little awkward.
May Mr. Garcia be permanently or temporarily excused witness?
Yes, sir.
Permanent? All right. Mr. Garcia, thank you for your patience with us. I'm going to permanently excuse you as a witness. You're free to go about your usual duties and avocation. Just don't discuss your testimony anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and recess for the day as promised, because our next witness is going to take a little bit longer. So it makes sense just to start that witness tomorrow morning. Okay, so since we're concluding for the day, I'll give you the customary ad nauseam admonitions. All right, so are we going to talk about this case going into the parking lot or to wherever, how it is you're getting to your mode of transportation? Yeah. All right. Are we going to talk about it tonight when we're at home at the dinner table? Yeah. We're going to let people, third parties, come and talk to us about this? Yeah. No. All right. What about phone a friend? Yeah. How about look up something on the internet, or as my northern colleagues said, so you can become wicked smart about any of the other issues around that you've heard.
Yes.
Do it hear what's in the four walls of this courtroom, right? Yes. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your adhering to these ad nauseam admonitions. I know that people have told me they get tired of them, but remember, lawful trial, just trial. Fair trial is to both sides. So we appreciate you adhering to all of these. Remember to leave your notepads in the basket. Take a juror sticker.
Yes, he is.
So you can be prepared to come in tomorrow morning. Remember tomorrow morning, I'd like you all to be here for 9:30 for an anticipated 10 o'clock start time. And we'll go ahead and see where the day leads us at that point. I believe that tomorrow, we're going to probably leave around 4 o'clock. All right, so we'll get a full work day in. We'll probably come recess around 4, and then remember Thursday and Friday will be augmented days to allow you all to have some make other plans and appointments. Okay.
Augmented time. That's not a bad idea.
Ministerial in nature. Anyone?
Any judgely questions?
Headquarters back there. Wonderful. Any problems? Any issues? Okay, all right. Well, I don't provide an ad nauseum supply of snacks. Okay, so you got to bring your own food. All right, but it's the only thing I can tell you. Okay. Say again?
It was like a long shot, but can we get like lunch maybe once every 2 weeks or so?
A lot of nerve, man. I'm trying to ask me for lunch.
That's why you part of the truth.
For you to ask those questions? Okay, all right. No, we don't provide lunches. The county's got bad credit, so we used to be able to. We used to be able to provide lunches.
That's just funny.
I had a juror account. I don't at this point in time, and it's one of those things that I wish I could provide you at this point in time, but I'm not in a position to do so. I can tell you that.
That's kind of fucked up.
Jury that we might be able to make some arrangements for some substance. Okay.
Wait,
right,
they might.
You got to bring your own stuff, all right?
Even when they're deliberating, they may be on their own for dinners and meals.
Well,
that's risky.
Grocery stores, and I know it's winter, but anyways, bring, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to bring whatever you like. I know that we provided you some small snacks, and
I'll continue to do that as we can, okay? But you're welcome to bring anything as you like. Remember, the only caveat I told you is as long as you clean up after yourselves, you're welcome to bring anything you want, okay? Except alcohol, remember? Okay, all right. Okay, anything else from anybody? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience you've given us and continue to give us and will continue to give us in the trial of this matter. And unless you have any other inquiry or comment from me, I'll go ahead and excuse
You know, a charcuterie board.
tomorrow morning for 9:30 for an anticipated 10 o'clock start time, okay? Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in recess. All right, all rise.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. God, this is the other thing. This is why I'm only going to touch in on this trial once in a while, because this is horrible. I just want to jump off a bridge right now. Oh. I'd be pissed if I saw this jury, yeah. Chicken bones on the floor.
Okay. Any ministerial inquiry of me, counsels? Okay. Before we recess, when we do recess, Mr. Harvey, can I talk with you about an unrelated ancillary matter? And I do want to just kind of put this on your radar. You know, I get a lot of inquiries from people in regards to just everything that goes on. But one of the inquiries I have is in regards to being able to hear everybody. Okay. And,
y'all deaf.
Tell you all, and I think Ms. Weaver has basically reinforced this ask of you, and because she's responsible for taking down the verbatim record. If you could please, for those of you who are not using the microphone, do that, because it produces better audio in terms of just being able to be heard, as well as for Ms. Weaver to hear everything to take up the record. So some of you speak very loudly as a matter of course. It's not an issue being heard, but some of you could work on just the timbre and loudness so that everybody can hear you, in particular, Ms. Weaver, okay? All right, so Mr. Adams, I don't think you had that problem, okay? You're good, all right? But no, just that it's been mentioned to me that some of you cannot be heard. So please just work on that, and that's all I'd ask, okay? All right, anything else from me? All right, so I'll see everybody tomorrow morning for 9:30, and we'll get started between 9:30 and 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, okay? All right, unless there's anything else, we're in recess. All right, see you tomorrow.
Oh my God. All right. Well, that was something. Yeah, 8:30 first. I've got stuff to do tomorrow morning, but we'll be covering the Trump hearing in Colorado, because to be fair, that's like 100% important. So we'll be covering that starting live at 2 p.m. And yeah, guys, we're gonna pop in and out of this trial. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. Big Peace Nick, yes, just 5 more people subscribe to me on Twitch, and I can make money off Amazon. So if you guys can over there, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free. So that's really it. Yeah, this is the tedious part of a RICO case. Sometimes you have to build the beginnings, and even then I'm still not sure with, like, it's weed. I don't even know. Did they even ask the defense, hey, would you guys stipulate it's weed? Because listen, they didn't really question these texts. Was it weed? Was it crack? Nobody cares. So I'm a little concerned that they didn't do that. But guys, yeah, that is it for today. It sounds like, and not a lot of questions. So, oh, Aaron for $10. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate the port. Says you the man, Sean. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate being recognized as a man. Sometimes it's out of questions. Excited Utterance says, why do they care about weed? Because part of the whole RICO thing is showing there's a criminal enterprise. So it's like, well, they've got drugs and they've got guns and they're selling drugs. And I'm sure that they're going to start pushing up the chain of, well, who gave you the drugs? Who told you to sell drugs? Where did your money go? Who do you kick up to? I'm assuming that's how they're going to build up the ladder to Young Thug. Yes, you guys are going to be going over to Valhalla watching the Elijah McClain case. That is ongoing. It's day 5. I'm going to start over on that if I can get a hold of the the other days of it, because I don't want to start on day 5 myself. So I will leave that to you guys. And until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. So I'll see you guys. Oh, Aaron's going to say real quick. Hold on here. Do you say weed in court or do you say tetrahydra or whatever? I say weed. I mean, I've called it weed. I've called it, dope. I've called it stuff. I've called it crank. Whatever names they use, I've used them before. So let's hope they get something more serious. Maybe they will. Excited. It's also good to see you. So, all right, guys. Well, I will be in touch. And you guys have a great day. Take care.